Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Classic Championship Series. My name is Thunder. I'm back. I've come back from the dead, it feels like, and I am joined by my wonderful color caster, Oshi Dash. How have you been, man? It feels like it's been forever.
I am alive. I'm still alive. I am not dying anytime soon. I have missed you. I had you. I lost you. I had you. I lost you. I've got you again.
I should
And
be here for a while now.
I don't know if this feels more like chocolate cake or a bad relationship at this point in
Well,
time.
okay, all right. Well, I didn't expect this type of energy for the cast, but okay. Well, speaking of a bad relationship, we have Hard Hat Zone and Omega Gaming Obsidian, who they have. Look, it can't get much worse than this. They're going toe to toe today, face to face. They're throwing down, and I will say this is a series where Omega Gaming Obsidian, they are at the top of the tables for their group. They're looking like probably the best team on Wednesday, maybe for our Plat League overall. Hard Hat Zone last split was kind of in this position, but this split it's not so good. So Hard Hat Zone, I think it's their time to make a statement. I think in this game.
They certainly have to. They need to just kind of remind people who they are, where they were, and show us a reason that they were there again. Because
Yeah.
like you said, we kind of feel like they lost it. The mojo slipped a little bit. Gameplay is still there, but the teamwork and the overall combination of players, they don't have that same powerful cohesion that pulled them all the way through last season.
Yep. And I will say, kind of the stars of the show last season were the mid jungle duo Llama and Alternative, aka Marcel for a part of last season. Name changes, and they're still together. Bennett as well in the top lane. The only change in Hard Hat Zone, I believe this is the first time we've had them on stream, is their ADC. Retroflexion is now their ADC. So other than that, it is still roughly the same team. And I will always say that a team that has Alternative in the mid lane or Llama in the jungle, like either of those players can completely 1v9. It doesn't, like, they can be down 10,000 gold and then Llama or Alternative will just say, all right, we're going to start winning this. But again, Omega Gaming Obsidian as a team, we saw them on stream a couple weeks ago. They're just so cohesive. And now we're going to go ahead and get into the picks and bans for the draft. And Hard Hat Zone, they start off by banning a Karma and a Fiddlesticks. Notably, Delilah played 4 games of Fiddlesticks yesterday. So Hard Hat Zone doing their scouting. And Omega Gaming, they have taken away Aurelia and Jarvan. Hard Hat Zone, they finish up with the Kayn. So looks like they're targeting that jungle.
Yeah, you know what? I can't blame them. All of the games that we saw last time coming through from Omega Gaming Obsidian, Delilah was a terror. Didn't matter what you put in her hands, just shredded everything. Incredible kill participation, incredible roaming, great early game pressure, mid game pressure, absolutely everywhere. That's why I made the joke I did when we first joined about what's it like in the enemy's jungle, because just unfathomable. The entire map was hers. Absolutely made it that way for the entire series that we saw them in last 2 weeks ago. I believe it was that we had them on.
2 weeks ago. Yep.
So not surprised to see target bans. However, seeing Tariq banned is something interesting.
It's, again, notably both teams, they have done their scouting. Although I do say whenever, again, you can check the op.gg's. Dragon Mooncake has played 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 games of Tariq in a row. The only games on this account have been Tariq games. I do feel like, if I'm going to be entirely honest, when players just spam one champion over and over again in solo queue on the account everybody knows about, I feel like they're trying to bait the bans, if I'm being entirely honest. So it looks like it's, if that's what they're trying to do, it looks like it worked. Otherwise, Hard Hat Zone and Omega Gaming Obsidian, they've taken away some champions that both teams have been practicing. But Hard Hat Zone, they pick up the Seraphine. There is no world in which this is going into the hands of Alternative. I don't think so. I think we can safely say that's going to Dragon Mooncake's hands. And then we get the Diana for Delilah, a champion that they are very familiar with, and I expect them to do quite well, and the Ashe pickup as well for the bottom lane.
Yeah, and the Ashe is something that we've seen a ton of this season, and the overall just incredibly reliable, having the CC that comes with it, the instant stun, great picks, especially with a Diana on the map. And I'm so bad with player names right now. We got to go back. King Civil, aka Crab. The other Crab, not the cool Crab, but the other Crab killer.
No, that was Shelly. I was calling Shelly the.
I understand that. I understand. I understand. I was gonna make a joke, but okay, it's gone. Amumu coming in. This is a lot of massive AoE CC for Hard Hat Zone, and honestly, one of my favorite types of comps because it gives you huge comeback potential if the laning phase doesn't go your way. And
Right.
Azir, yeah,
That's for alternative. But one thing I do want to ask about this Amumu. Also, so far we have 3 champions with A names. That's not going to get confusing at all. But do we think this Amumu is going into Dragon Mooncake's hands or Llama's hands with this first 3 sections done? It doesn't feel like a Llama champion, but I wouldn't put it past them.
I think we find out after the next bans. Honestly, that's the only possible way. I'm not calling it. This is a flex pick. Amumu's an incredible flex. Right. Silas and Diana, also 2 incredible flexes between one another. Either can jungle, either can mid.
Mm-hmm. And of course, I mean, looking at what Hard Hat Zone's first 3 champions are, I mean, we talked about Omega Gaming Obsidian with the Enchanted Crystal Arrow, with the Moonfall, plenty of CC. Silas has 3 ultimates to use that, the Azir Wall isn't necessarily CC, but Amumu ultimate, Seraphine ultimate, that is like, those are so juicy leading into this. So I'm interested to see. I think the demo alternative 1v1 in the mid lane should be pretty spicy, pretty exciting, especially with these 2 champions. But more bans coming through. Jack's taken away. The Janna taken away again. That was something that we saw on stream for the Cool Crab. So they're picking. It looks like Hard Hat Zone. They know what they want to do, and they've done some good scouting on their opponent.
Yeah, altogether great Kale, incredible ban when you're running a pick composition. Doesn't matter who plays it or anything. It's just a smart ban one way or the other. Really interested to see what this last one ends up being. I've got a couple in mind that I'd be looking for with this comp.
Yeah, I mean,
but they're taking their time on this one.
There's no GP ban, which I mean, maybe Omega Gaming Obsidian aren't going to pick that, but Sauter has been okay. There it is. Okay, as soon as I said it, there goes the GP. That's like all Sauter's been playing, and it's worked so well for them.
Yeah, it's an incredible cross map pick. We talk about it every single series at least twice, and just the power that comes with being able to wave clear with 1E and a Q. And then, your team's fighting, drop the ult. Oh, the fight's really not going well. Okay, I guess I'll teleport. And they can't challenge you. Jace, we have seen so many Jace 1 tricks and never seen a Jace.
They've never picked it, but now Sauter, again, looking at those solo Q stats, at this deal, we don't necessarily need to look at those, but currently Sauter has, what is that? 75 more games on Jace than the next highest champion. So this should be a pretty powerful top lane.
I would like to see an Olaf. No, don't. No.
That's a Nasus pickup for Bennett.
So
this was a champ. Oshi, I don't know how much of the CCS at the end, towards the end of last season you were paying attention to, but the dog kind of took over a little bit in the top lane. It became a bit of a meme, and it looks like Bennett is pulling it out again.
So anybody who was around in the early seasons of League, everybody who knows League at this point anyways should know Trick 2G. If you don't remember Trick 2G, you're either never learned, forgot, or you're just too young. In which case, I am so sorry, because this entire game is going to be full of decane. And so many of you won't understand that. But I actually made a Nasus reference in chat before the game to the teams, saying the cycle of life continues.
It was they saw it. They were inspired. They had to have been inspired by you, Ocean. But you mentioned an Olaf.
Yes.
Wait. What's the It's Diana support.
J support?
Maybe. Here's the thing. For Omega Gaming Obsidian, who knows what they're going to play in support?
You know what?
Last week, the Cool Crab played Camille support.
I've got it.
Okay, hit me.
Fasting Ashe.
I'm sorry.
Fasting Ashe support. Ashe support is a incredibly classic thing. So you run Ashe support, Jace ADC.
Okay.
Olaf top, and then either Diana Silas flex jungle.
I'm down with that. That's my call. Draft. Whew. And I mean, looking at what Hard Hat Zone is bringing, I will say Hard Hat Zone's team composition, it's a little out of the box, but it's probably the most boring scaling composition I've seen in my life.
You missed the season release of Ziggs.
I did. I'm not that old. But no, Seraphine, Amumu, very safe. Well, not necessarily safe, but that bot lane, they're trying to make it just as boring as possible. And Azir lane, extremely boring. And Nasus is just the level 18 champion. I will say, I'm interested to see what Llama does on this Wukong. How do you think, like, what's kind of the dynamic between the Wukong and the Diana? And also, like, Wukong, I don't really think is going to have laners that are trying to be too aggressive and push super hard, at least in the early game.
What's bot lane on blue side?
Oh, Seraphine Amumu, 100%. Seraphine Amumu. I put money on it.
So you've got Wukong in your jungle, who has no hard CC till 6. You've got Nasus top lane, who's got no hard CC period. Azir mid lane, who's got no hard CC save a knockback at 6. So if you're Omega Gaming Obsidian, you're playing bot all game. All game.
Understandable.
I don't care what champion Delilah chooses.
Right.
They're bot lane all game. Because look at your top lane. Your top lane is Olaf Nasus. You deal true damage and you out heal him all game. It doesn't matter. You pick up a Blade of the Ruined King and he can have all the stacks he wants to. You're going to shred him down anyways. It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
So that you have strong side top lane, play bot. It's the only place with hard CC. If your Silas gets cut out mid lane against Azir, you're kind of on your own. Like that's your own fault.
Yeah.
So I expect to see a lot of brawling in the bot lane, which kind of is where we wanted to focus anyways. So.
Right. I mean, that's kind of been Omega Gaming Obsidian's, I think, MO, especially these last few weeks with how strong picks like Sivir and stuff have been. They've just played for King Civil, and King Civil has gifted them fairly nicely, rewarded them fairly well for paying attention to that bottom side of the map. So, I mean, I think you're exactly correct. It's going to be on. I do think it's going to be kind of on Llama though, to make sure Delilah doesn't just run rampant over this game, or that Omega Gaming Obsidian doesn't have one of literally 4 champions run completely rampant over this game. So,
you know what? Anybody on Omega Gaming at all could go off. Like every single champion that's there.
Yeah.
Terrifying.
I was literally the reason I said 1 of 4 is because one of them has to be support.
It doesn't matter who it is though.
It's true. Literally, exactly.
It could be support Ashe. That doesn't matter. If Ashe gets fed enough, you get Banner of Command. Doesn't matter. 15% bonus damage, right?
That is true. That's true. So do we think Omega Gaming Obsidian are they going to, do they just say, okay, hey, you know what, we'll match you, we'll play for mid game? Or because, again, they have a lot of champs they have several champs who just want to hit, the R button at level 6, but they do have Olaf, Jace, they're not necessarily, super centered around their ultimates. And we actually do see, again, things can shift around, but that is the Olaf top, Diana jungle. So I think so far your prediction of Ashe support is correct. But do we think Omega Gaming Obsidian, they're going to be trying more for that really mid-game rampage, get a roll going? Because I don't think they're going to be too active early game either.
No, they don't have too much of an early game at all.
Right.
Like, obviously, right? But I mean, when you have 5 champs with no traditional support champ, if you get to 18, where everybody's 3 items deep, you've got a pretty solid advantage having an additional carry, right?
Yeah.
Like, the one thing is, you've got Moonfall, you've got the Enchanted Crystal Arrow. If Silas isn't stealing AoE CC ults and using them to the maximum, you're short on CC in comparison, right?
Right.
Yeah, look at like Hard Head Zone has 4, if you count the knockback, CC ultimates. And a Nasus. So
just shovel everybody into the Nasus. Like that's just
think about it though.
It's very simple.
You bump everybody up into a single area, and then you have Nasus ult on top of it. That's horrifying. Jace,
wait, hold on.
They're shuffling. Well, okay, I did say it could be Silas support because he's got CC. He tanks well. He's melee.
And you were talking about, Silas's big things. He's going to have to steal the CC ultimates anyways.
So if he's not busy worrying about dealing damage.
Yeah. And where are the best CC ultimates on Hard Hat Zone?
Bot lane, yeah.
They're in the bot lane. I kind of like this, but maybe we'll see the shuffles, but again, it is the Seraphine Amumu bottom side of the map. But O'Shea, I do want to ask, I know these drafts, at least the Omega Gaming Obsidian draft is a little bit weirder, but Which one do you think? I want your prediction. Who do you think is winning game 1? I'm not going to ask the series prediction yet, but who do we think is taking this game 1?
If you're gonna pressure me into making a prediction, like 100%, I absolutely have to make one way or the other. Then I'm going to tell you to open pro drafts and find out.
That is, that's a wonderful way to do it. Pro Drafts is a wonderful drafting tool. It can show you the various ways that you can adjust your draft, adjust your picks and your bans to accommodate for what your opponents are picking and banning against you, to develop your best strategies as players and coaches, both in your casual and competitive environments. So, Oshi, thank you so much for that wonderful transition. And we will now transition to a brief delay for spectators. We'll be back in just a few minutes with game number 1.
Everybody panic! Hold on. I'm about to say something really cool. 3, 41, 9, and lift off! No one dies screaming without me. I feel like I forgot to shoot something. You're starting to bore me. She's such a loser, always ready to cry. Ah, come on. What's the worst that could happen?
8.
Shut up. Hello and welcome back. Some of you might have caught the tail end of me telling my colorcaster to shut up because he was trying to mess up the count with our producer. But one thing that you can count on is indeed that Pro Comps discount that you can get with code CCS at checkout, 3 months for 50% off. But anyways, besides that, Oshi, talk to me a little bit more about these team comps. Looks like we're fairly standard for now, but hold on, never mind. Delilah and Dragon Mooncake are both up here. We have members huddling around the mid lane. I do not expect anything of importance to actually happen though, unless Cool Crab, no, he just dashes back over the wall and we're good. Anyways, tell me about these team comps. What excites you about them?
I'm just gonna have to go ahead, put it all out there, and say no. I don't want to talk about this.
Great. Michael, we're not interacting at all.
I started this game getting told to shut up. No,
please continue. Please
honestly, it's insane. We were talking about it a little bit in the intermission or in between, so I'm sorry that you guys out there had to miss a little bit of it. Cool Crab getting caught out here. There's two Qs on the Amumu.
Silas are already down to right about 15% HP. 10, 9, 8, 7.
Ooh, gonna flash Q?
5. The Ignite is burning down and looks like he's fine. Did have to commit the flash, but out of there for now. But King Civil will be alone for a little bit in this bot lane.
I didn't see Retroflexion Q.
I don't think they did. I don't think they did. It might have still been on cooldown. That cooldown is quite long, but both teams are going very aggressively right now. It looks like both supports are going to fall, but the first blood does go over to Retroflexion. I thought it was going to be slow, but the bottom lane said, no, let's go fast. Summoner spells burn everywhere, but Retroflexion keeps up the cleanse for now. King Civil wants to maybe get this kill. Whew, one more step would have been a tower shot, and Retroflexion is going to have to go for the back first, I believe. But meanwhile, the top laners, this is so aggressive. Bennett is already low, and Oshi, who has gotten the most out of these early game trades so far?
Gold count says literally no one. They are perfectly even. It doesn't matter. This is exactly what we can expect for Sauter, no matter what the matchup is, right? He's always going to be in your face and slapping you around if he can. Bot lane again.
Oh crap, wants to go in, wants to get a kill. This Silas is being so aggressive. He is not a support. He's supporting himself and getting kills, I guess.
You know what? You do what you have to do in that bot lane, and I respect the heck out of it when you're playing someone like Silas. You really have to make sure that you abuse your level 1 because your damage is so high compared to your the other lane right now. Right. I mean, look at Seraphine Amumu level 1. They're barely doing any damage. Their big advantage is their CC and their sustain. So if you can just constantly burn them out of lane, that's exactly what you want.
Right.
And looking at the rest of the map, it's almost similar all around, you know? Like, Sauter definitely wants to be pushing Bennett in, not letting him CC too clearly. Demo's going to want to be getting aggressive on alternative as soon as he sees the soldiers come out. It's just the way that they're going to play.
Yeah, so I mean that's what we have to keep an eye on is especially where those junglers are. We saw Llama hovering down towards the bottom side of the map to kind of cover a little bit of that aggression in case Cool Crab wanted to go in, but I mean for the time being, after all of that action, 1 kill was traded back and forth in either direction, as well as the single assist for the supports. And so far, nobody has a major CS lead. But, those health bars were chunked low. The bot laners, they have backed. And so we just kind of reset to a somewhat neutral state. We have 40 seconds until the Drake is going to spawn. And with the aggression that we've seen so far, I mean, I'm going to be honest, I fully expect both teams to scrap over that one. But it looks like Alternative is going to have the mid lane priority for now.
Yeah, I don't think we're going to see anything super early for Dragon. Just taking a look at everybody's levels right now. I mean, Dragon Mooncake hasn't even hit 3 yet. Cool Crab just barely hit 3 before that. We're probably going to look until level 6 is my guess before we really see anything come out, unless there's a massive gank that comes through. But again, everybody lacks CC in this early game right now except for the Amumu.
Right.
So not too sure what to expect. Demo's got to watch himself right now. A lot of pings coming through.
Yeah, low on HP, fairly low on mana, but Delilah is right there clearing the chickens, so they should be able to join in case anything goes awry. Is getting relatively close to level 5, but wants to go in, just helps, just is there to escort the wave in. And Cool Crab again wants to go in, has the level advantage. Both members of this Omega Gaming bot lane are level 4. Cool Crab with a 2-level advantage over Dragon Mooncake, and Dragon Mooncake goes over to level 3. But that level advantage, I mean, King Civil and the Cool Crab, they are keeping that wave shoved in, but despite that, Retroflexion is still ahead in CS.
Yeah, nothing super crazy coming out. Going through the items right now. Nothing really to mention. Dark Seal on the Diana for now. I guess that's kind of standard this early on. There's just not a whole lot. Like there's a lot of slapping each other around, but not a whole lot of real bloody fighting happening just yet. Everybody seems kind of content to wait it out. And like I said, probably wait for that 6. We're going to keep seeing the aggression in the bot lane. Cool Crab, you can tell he just sits in this bush. He's going to wait until he can land a bit of CC, get in for some burst. But so far, most of his burst damage is getting negated by the shields from Seraphine.
Yeah, and that was one thing I wanted to kind of ask and talk about. I mean, do you think Cool Crab should, or anybody on Omega Gaming Obsidian should probably rush something like an Oblivion Orb to try to get that healing cut as early as possible?
I expect to see it from Delilah, if anybody.
Okay.
Cool Crab, I don't think it's worth it for him to pull super early.
Right.
But I don't know. We saw a bit of Dragon aggro coming through there, but it was just happening from checking it for vision. See this, and this is just it. Like, look at the lanes; they're rotating. Who has priority? Who's pushed in? Who's doing what? And there's just some harass. But then Bennett is going to get minions under tower and uses 15% lifesteal that comes built into the champions. So,
and heal up perfectly fine to top off. And unfortunately, Civil and Cool Crab weren't able to freeze that wave. Retroflexion, Dragon Mooncake doing a good job of being able to push that in. So, I mean, this is, it's just a pretty slow, steady game so far. And one thing to note about Dragons is, with regards to some of the more recent updates, is their health is so much bigger now. They are much harder to kill, but what is not very hard to kill is a Retroflexion Seraphine. That said, Cool Crab goes in and ends up taking a couple of turret shots. King Civil with the volleys is getting Dragon Mooncake low, but Cool Crab gets hit with the Ignite, had to burn the flash as well. The Kingslayer is not going to be able to heal him up too much, and Llama hovering around this bottom side of the map again, wants to try to make some action happen. King Civil and Cool Crab, they're in a precarious spot. Llama wants to go in. We see the Seraphine try to get some lockdown, and Llama with phenomenal clone mechanics just takes out Cool Crab. A defenseless Silas will go back to the fountain.
That is one of the problems with burning your flash and remaining aggressive. Just gets caught in the end. Right before that, though, I want to pay a little bit of respect to Dragon Mooncakes for his own mechanics, using the one bandage toss to get in on the Ash, keep him a little bit busy, but then when things started going bad for Retroflexion, he actually used his second bandage toss to stun Cool Crab and get himself back under turret safely. Right. So just really good management of his tools, safe gameplay in the overall, and great awareness as well, not trying to really getting caught up trying to over-harass King Civil and dying there on his own.
Right. Playing a pretty good job of protect the president.
Yeah. Get down, Mr. President. One of the worst games and best games you could ever play with your friends.
Hey, look, sometimes you have to protect the president by just slam dunking them into a large sofa and piling a bunch of blankets on them. But you know what? That's besides the point. I don't know if any of y'all ever played like that. But speaking of slam dunking someone, Delilah, Cool Crab, they are both up here. Bennett is walking towards this brush. Delilah goes in, does have the moonfall, and Nasus is going to have to proc the ultimate. Is a very tanky boy now with plenty of lifesteal. Ghosts on out of there, and that is a lot of resources invested for absolutely nothing. Well, not absolutely nothing, but an ult and a ghost.
Yeah, I gotta say, for those of you unaware of exactly what the numbers are, 300 maximum health and 40 armor and magic resist coming from that Nasus ult right now, which is disgusting. But overall, the point wasn't to kill him per se. They wanted to drop Shelly down, get that first tower and some plates, trading out the dragon as a result.
Yep, and Cool Crab is here, but, again, this is a Silas and a Jace. In most circumstances, a Silas and a Jace is fairly threatening, and it's somewhat threatening now, but this is a Silas at 9 minutes that has Sork shoes, and that's really it. So not quite as scary as we would think, but Delilah and Bennett just see each other. Bennett on the auto path, not quite catching Delilah there, but still taking a big chunk out of the jungler's HP. Demo and Alternative once again say hello to each other in the mid lane, but Delilah's going to get out of there just fine with just a recall.
Just a recall. Stack track right now, by the way, just over 100 on the Nasus. Got to keep an eye on that. It's no different than when you've got Kindred, that crystal arrow going wide. That's not something we're used to seeing from King Civil either. He's normally a sniper.
Yeah, they normally have pretty good track of where exactly everybody is. That being said, hold on, that is a phenomenal engage coming out of Cool Crab using Dragon Mooncake's own ultimate against them, but the damage is coming through. Retroflexion is actually, Dragon Mooncake is actually the first one to get the kill. King Civil is going to fall, and after a phenomenal engage from Cool Crab, it doesn't matter. Dragon Mooncake and Retroflexion, a clean 2 for nothing in the bottom side of the map.
The death of Cool Crab there resulted in Dragon Mooncake hitting level 6, which resulted in King Civil dying. Wow. Incredibly unfortunate for him, but that's how it goes.
The amount of damage that just came out of that Seraphine Amumu bot lane is absolutely insane. This isn't the Retroflexion isn't even building damage. That's a Bandle Glass mirror.
It is what it is, man. It's base stats, you know. You got to take it. The biggest thing that comes with it is the CC, though, right? You've got 2 stuns that come out of Amumu and a third once the ult goes out. You've got the charm that comes out from Retroflexion, and then on top of that, you have the shielding, you've got the healing, you've got the AoEs, and Amumu does percent health damage as well. These are things people don't pay enough attention to about character or champions that they don't see too frequently. And the buff that Amumu got with the double bandage toss, I'm shocked that we don't see it more often, but love that we are seeing it now. Unfortunately, Sauter is going to be seeing a few more people than he wants.
Yeah, this is an Olaf that is getting towered over. The Ragnarok is popped, but it just doesn't matter. Llama takes a few tower shots, goes quite low, but the kill gets picked up relatively easily. Sauter, didn't invest the ghost. Maybe would have mattered. Maybe it wouldn't have, but does have the TP if he chooses to use it.
Yeah, I don't think he will. Yeah, it's not going to be worth it. That wave will be gone by the time he gets back up. But I love this. They send the silence up top so that he can get a little bit of free farm himself, get some experience, get some gold. Because, like I was saying, if this goes to the late game, which, of course, is what Hardhat wants,
right,
you may have a bit of an advantage having 5 high damage characters on your team.
Exactly to your point, Omega, they get to play this a little bit differently now. Their macro gets to change some. Obviously, I think it leaves King Civil a little bit more vulnerable if he doesn't have a support with him at all times, just keeping him covered. But now, if somebody dies or somebody needs to recall, then they can just always pick up any farm that would be lost anywhere. So it definitely seems like it gives them a bit more of an advantage in terms of they're always going to be able to collect gold no matter where it is on the map.
So I was saying in the early on that Omega Gaming needed to focus the bot lane. Take a look at their wards, and you can tell that they agree.
Right.
Just look at the vision control they have on that bot side. On the contrary, Hardhat says, no, keep the dog alive. That's what they want. They want to know where the Diana is on that top side at all times. They have her entire route tracked until she gets to the bot, and then they say, okay, fine, whatever, we're doing fine down here, we only care about the Nasus. And I can respect that. That is their ultimate overall late game, and that's why you have an Amumu and a Seraphine that are just all about the AoE CC and all about keeping one person alive.
Yeah, and they've done a very good job of that so far, and we keep seeing Llama come and hover around this bottom side of the map. Both teams are doing a great job of tracking where the other jungler is pretty concisely, so it's making it difficult, I think, for either of these junglers to have too much of an effect. Llama, of course, did manage to get a couple of solid ganks off, picked up a couple of kills, but I mean, for how much Delilah has been able to have an impact in previous games, we saw one moonfall up on the top side of the map that didn't result in the kill, but it resulted in several tower plates. But other than that, they just haven't been able to really do much, and now it looks like they've made the call. They want to go for this second Drake and maybe get the Drake sacked themselves, but it does look like Dragon Mooncake Retroflexion are thinking about it. This is a very bold TP, I think.
It's definitely preemptive, but I think it's the right play. They just really need to get in there. Seraphine a little busy trying to farm, I think, possibly there. little late to the party.
Ooh, Dragon Mooncake thinks about going in, and that is a stolen dragon. Llama goes in with the smite, then starts spinning to win with the cyclone and the clone itself. Yamumu does fall, but already Hard Hat Zone, they are winning the fight on all sides. Cool, Crab, and Demo, they have to get out of there, but they cannot escape. The doggy is chasing them down, and all of a sudden, this Nasus that was down 30 CS now has 2 kills and 2 assists.
That is one of the big turning points. Loved the early teleport, getting the Nasus down there, let him get into a great position. Big ups to Llama using the W to stealth himself to get over the wall and get the smite off with next to no contention. He was able to burst it down. Delilah couldn't have possibly known it was coming because there was no vision on the other side of the pit there. And not only that, they turn it into Shelly. They're going to get a tower in top lane, I'm assuming that'll probably go into, open it up, so a little easier farming there. Or they're just going to recall, I guess. Yeah. Shows what I know.
But put it in the mid lane.
The big thing about that fight, you can see it on your screen right now, Cool Crab still has the Wukong ultimate. Cool Crab did not ultimate in that fight. There was no return AoE CC coming out of Red Team.
Right. And that, it was just, you mentioned it. Cool Crab is kind of, he's their only way to get CC, and by stealing other people's ultimates. And so, I mean, Delilah, of course, does have the Moonfall, but that's the only other version of it. And Hard Hat Zone didn't group up until Delilah was dead. So they just, I think they looked like they played that team fight really well overall. And now if you're Omega Gaming Obsidian, you're down 6 kills. You are only down, about 1,000 gold. And it looks like they want to go in on Retroflexion. The Enchanted Crystal Arrow does land, and they're able to pick up a kill on the ADC. I believe that was about 150 gold shutdown, or maybe it was a 300 gold shutdown. Either way, money going into their pockets. And now Delilah coming down to the bottom side of the map, wants to try to make something happen onto Alternative, but will get caught out on Vision, and the Azir will take a step back.
Yeah, and this is everything that we want to see out of having an Ashe on your team. Put him in the mid lane in the mid game. Let the other team send one person to come over and say, all right, well, they're going to push, I'll push back. And then you just ult him. You just shoot him with the arrow, and then you've got stacks of damage and CC coming through. Demo bursting with both the charge shot and then hopping in as well with the hammer. But Llama, he's in a great spot right now, both item-wise, or he will be in a great spot item-wise. He's got this the Sunder there. Interested to see what they think is going to happen diving Diana, though.
Yeah, they do have 3 people here, and that Curse of the Sad Mummy can lock up quite a bit. Looks like they do just want to drop the Rift Herald and escort it in. It would be a 3v3 for the time being if the teams decided to fight, but looks like they just want to get the Rift Herald charge off, a little bit of damage on this mid lane turret, and that is simply that. And so a brief check-in on the items as Demo and Bennett go in on each other for a little bit. Demo just defending the turret for the time being, though, does not want to let the Nasus take it down. But yeah, brief item check. We do actually only have single completed items on everybody across the board. So again, small gold lead, even though that team fight did go pretty hard in Hard Hat Zone's favor. The farm advantage so far, I think, for Omega Gaming Obsidian and really in the top in the jungle has kept them close enough to where everybody still only has one item, so that goldie can't really be felt. And now up on the top side of the map, we have a bit of a 2v2 as Omega Gaming Obsidian want to go in for the turret. We see the Moonfall come down, but the Wukong Llama cannot be stopped. The Enchanted Crystal Arrow goes absolutely wide, doesn't even make it to the uprights. That is a double kill. Delilah and Demo falling.
Llama's mechanics right there were phenomenal. Obviously, you could see what happened. Demo fell back. He was waiting for Delilah to engage. The Moonfall came through, and Demo said, okay, this is where I hammer form, and I Q in and get the big AoE. As soon as the flip came through on that Q, out came the second monkey spin.
Yep, the side
no
blow.
Damage for you. End of fight right there.
Dragon Mooncake is getting locked down pretty aggressively. Does have a Curse of the Sad Mummy of his own. Decides to proc it. Dragon Mooncake procs his own, though, and Azir gets a kill. Alternative is turning this fight around. King Civil gets shoved back into the rest of the team, and Llama is dominating 6-0-4 on this Wukong. Hard Hat Zone have decided to take this game into their hands, and they are running down the mid lane.
In case anybody was curious, when it comes around to happening, this Nasus Q is hitting for an additional 431 damage prior to the Triforce. Okay, the Triforce proc adds an additional 200 damage. Okay, do the math on that yourself if you want to. I'll do it if you don't. You're just short of 650 damage for a single Q, and that Q is on a 1.5 second cooldown right now. Okay, consider the fact that you have somebody like King Civil who only has 1,500 health. That is 43%, give or take, of King Civil's health bar every 1.5 seconds. Okay, and we are at the 20-minute mark. I said 23 to 25 minutes, and I'm giving the game over to Hard Hat. They have pushed the bill at this point. 20640 CS, 324 stacks on the Nasus, dropping bows on people out here.
This is hard to. Oh no, King Civil, Dragon Mooncake goes in, now uses doesn't use the Curse of the Sad Moment yet, is just using the bandage tosses, and King Civil does get hit with the Ignite. Llama is here and will just take down King Civil with absolutely no problem. There we see another bandage toss out of Dragon Mooncake. The Curse of the Sad Mummy locks down two. Cool Crab tries to use the Seraphine ultimate defensively to get out of there, but it doesn't happen. Llama continuing to rack up the kills. Delilah trying to get at least one back. We see Sauter come in. The axe gets thrown, but it hits absolutely nobody. The Seraphine does finally fall, but Sauter is in the middle of three. Manages to pick up a second. The bottom lane falls, but it is a 2 for 4. Demo is the only one left on the map.
Gotta give it to Sauter for giving his all at the end there, but too little, too late is the name of that fight for him. And now we've got Baron going over as well. I don't want to call it free, but
beautiful hawk shot just goes and sees it. We see the Enchanted Crystal Arrow, but I mean,
the Enchanted Crystal Arrow, yeah, it catches him out, but that one, now you're in the pit.
I don't know what Demo was doing there.
That is the power of having a player like Alternative on a character like Azir. Right? Think about that. So many mid laners are like, oh, I got caught out. I better dash back into pit. He's like, no, you go to pit.
Yeah, you go to pit and you go in to die as well. And Omega Gaming Obsidian, they are grasping at straws at this point because it's the only thing that they can do. King Civil and Cool Crab literally just respawned and have now just died. So once again, there is only 2 members of Omega Gaming Obsidian on the map, and this went from being a relatively close game to, you know, it was about 7 kills to 9 kills, and about 3.5 minutes later, it's 7 kills to 20 kills with a 5,500 gold lead and soul point for Hard Hat Zone. You see Llama pinging, or he's pinging the Drake for that 2 minute and 30 seconds when it spawns, that Cloud Soul. I mean, if you're Seraphine, a Mumu Wukong with a Cloud Soul, even a Nasus, that feels nasty.
This is just a devastating combination at this point in time for Omega Gaming. I mean, I'm sure there's a lot of people out there and in here even that were expecting a swift 0-2.
No.
If it is an 0-2, it's going to be going the other way because Hard Hat Gaming has got this on lock. That Enchanted Crystal Arrow is a waste at this point in time. I understand the threat, Civil, but think about it, right? You don't have damage on your side yet. You don't even have a mythic item. This is a vicious situation.
Dragon Mooncake over the wall. The Seraphine ultimate cuts right through them, and Llama is just picking up every single kill. 11, 0, and 9 on the Wukong Retroflexion. Took a couple of turret shots for it, but that is 3 more members of Omega Gaming Obsidian down. It seems like they cannot keep a full team on the map for more than 45 seconds. This Baron push is going to be netting them so much gold.
Did you see the Qs on that tower?
Oh yeah, the tower just disappeared. And I think, okay, Sauter and Delilah, they're trying to go in. They're trying to get the shutdown here. Meanwhile, Llama goes legendary. The Nasus does fall, but in the meanwhile, the mid lane tier 3 turret is going to go down. And I will say, if you looked at the health bars, that's the inhibitor that's down. We see Sauter and Delilah recalling. Sauter and Delilah both started that fight at full HP, and they both ended up below half on Bennett, who started off at below half. So, hey, they got the shutdown gold at least.
300 gold out of that for your mid lane turret, which is 150 gold per champion, and inhib, which is all of the lane control that you could possibly ask for right now.
Right.
And you got a Nasus ult and a 300 gold shutdown in return. Like, yeah, it's great. Take down the raid boss. It's good. All of the gold you can get in your pockets is absolutely wonderful. But I mean, this is still just such a tough situation. They have so far to go if they want to bring this back. I don't know how they challenge Dragon here.
And
TP coming in.
If Bennett wasn't already super tanky, he has purchased the Spirit Visage and the Bandage Toss into Curse of the Sad Mummy is making Omega Gaming Obsidian cry themselves to sleep. 3 people instantly die, and Hard Hat Zone want more. Sauter is on the run, and Llama is saying, you don't get to get away from the funky monkey in the junkie. Sauter is ticking down, and Llama, Olaf is normally one of the best champions to run away, and he just can't. King Civil is on wave clear duty, but Hard Hat Zone, 28-8. They have more kills than minutes in this game. They needed to make a statement, and with game number 1, boy, are they on the way to doing it.
MVP calling it on game end, Dragon Mooncake. No doubt, no question in my mind. The bandage toss setups were flawless the entire time. His overall use of it doesn't matter. His use of everything. The vision was incredible. His ults were incredible. His delays were incredible. The fact that he was able to burn both summoners from the Ash every single time he landed a bandage toss after 10 minutes. Just better. That's it. There's nothing else I can say about that. Dragon Mooncake, perfect. And I was so happy to see the dog come out. I mean, I love Nasus.
Dragon Mooncake had more damage than their own ADC. I know it was a Seraphine, but still, the Amumu did more damage than 3 of the members on Omega Gaming Obsidian. I don't know what they put in Dragon Mooncake's Wheaties this morning, but it turned them into an absolute monster. You're correct. I mean, look, we can see Llama there with 22,000 damage, nearly 23,000 damage. Absolutely insane game from Llama, but I mean, just time after time, Dragon Mooncake. You said it yourself. That was what are the bets on a move ban for game number 2?
Pretty damn high, I gotta say. I don't expect to see it again, and if we do, I don't expect to see it on Hard Hat Gaming's side. Right. That I can see that as a counter pick coming out, maybe, but still, even then, I definitely don't expect it. Not just, I got to roll back to what you're talking about with the damage for a second, because it wasn't just any players that he out-damaged on the side of Omega. We got to specifically point out he out-damaged Delilah. The one that we said is the most likely to be the threat, to be the big carry. It's only 500 damage difference, I know, but it's a support Amumu against a jungle Diana. Yeah. I mean, you shouldn't even be close in damage.
Yep. So we're going to have to see what Omega Gaming Obsidian bring us for game number 2. How can they turn this around? Maybe we'll get a more standard draft. Maybe they'll put Cool Crab on an actual support, or maybe one of their funky drafts, their weird drafts, will be able to make it work. We will be back in just a few minutes to bring you game number 2. everybody, and welcome back for game number 2. If you missed game number 1, Hard Hat Zone just, I don't think it's hyperbole to say they absolutely obliterated Omega Gaming Obsidian, the team that many people consider maybe the best in Hard Hat Zone just went in and said, all right, sit down, shut up, we're back at the top. And we're back into picking bands, and Omega Gaming Obsidian, they start off with the Aurelia band, we see the Carmen band, the Kale band again. Omega Gaming Obsidian have not changed up anything yet, Oshi.
No, and I don't entirely know if they're going to. I mean, we saw a weird draft out of them, which they are very well known for doing. However, a lot of the times they'll do a weird draft, they'll lose game 1. And then it goes one of two ways. They do a really weird draft and win game 2, or they do a normal draft and win game 2. But generally speaking, they'll win game 2 after they do something strange and lose game 1. Right? That just is the way it seems to go with them. So be it. But what we saw in Hard Hat Zone was everything we wanted.
Mm-hmm.
We said, hey, it's time for you guys to roll back in. Prove to everybody why you were where you were last year. And they called us on that. Big time.
They did, and we actually see a J4 band out of Omega Gaming Obsidian. But one thing I do want to note is, we're talking about it in our last stream. That is what happened with Moonstone Gaming, right? They smacked Omega Gaming Obsidian in that game number 2 and said, hey, hold on, maybe you should be a little bit more responsible with your drafts. And Hard Hat Zone are actually going to change the band. But I do want to say that is only the second game that Omega Gaming Obsidian has lost this split, right? They lost one to Moonstone, and they just lost their second one to Hard Hat. So I will say, above all else, Hard Hat have definitely put themselves in a position where it's like, hey, even if we end up losing this series, we're up there, right? They're there. They're not there to clown around. And Omega Gaming Obsidian, they are on blue side. Maybe they pick up the Amumu, but they pick up the Scion first pick.
Why do they do this to us?
I feel like there are so many more power picks, but Omega
it's Scion support. I'm calling it now.
You know what?
It's Scion support.
You know what? I wouldn't be surprised after what we have, what we saw out of the Cool Crab last time, what we've seen out of them before, guess, but there is the Zeri. Now, one thing I want to note, Bennett actually played this top lane, this split.
Understandable. Exceptionally understandable. Very high mobility champion, very high damage, great range, great utility. Possibly still one of the strongest champions that you could possibly pick up in this game right now. And I love that they're using it as a flex pick. Honestly, until the Azir, I was going to say I could see it going mid as well, just as like the flex of the flex of the flex, right?
Hey,
but
Azir top,
Azir support,
Zeri mid. Just saying, we could see it. I mean, I feel like Azir into Scion seems pretty strong, but I digress. Your point. Continue.
I mean, Azir into Scion, you can't wall Scion if he's ulting you.
That's true.
Right? No, you can't. I think if the wall is up, he'll hit it, but you can't reactively push him away.
You can't move him. Yeah, you can't move him with the wall, but he can't break through the wall once it's
I don't know.
Play.
Maybe we'll find out.
That's true. Maybe, but we also do see the Xerath pick, so I guess that guarantees the mid lane, which should be a little bit safer for demo.
I mean, we say that, but it's still Omega Gaming Obsidian. Right?
Look, okay.
It could be support.
We have to pretend that we can talk about something somehow. What are we thinking? Xerath? Everything it's a Xerath Scion bot lane. Also, this is not new deer yet.
It's Xerath Udyr bot lane.
Okay. Gosh. All right. Look, we have to provide some sense of normalcy, Oshi, so that the viewers can have some concept, some grasp of something, or else we're just going to devolve into insanity. But again, right now, we don't really know too much about where these champions are going. It is very safe to assume that Udyr is going for the jungle. But again, to be fair, I think the rest of Omega Gaming Obsidian's comp, it can be a little bit weird, but Hard Hat Zone, they've picked up the Azir, they've picked up the Zeri, now pick up the Lilia. Lilia did get some buffs coming into this most recent patch. I need to go in and check exactly what they are, but I will say I am a big fan of Lilia jungle right now.
Yeah, I dare say the buffs were not needed. She was in a great spot. Now she's in an incredible spot. Just overall damage wise has gone upwards, and we have seen a significant amount of Lilia top played as well. And I think Lilia would do very well into the Scion. You're very mobile. you can just kind of hop around. You've got abilities that let you pop CS as well as harass. Would definitely go quite well. Thank you to chat for getting the predictions up there nice and early this time to get everybody hopefully chatting about this as, again, a Tarek ban comes through.
Right.
And the Janna as well, waiting to see what's left behind. What are you thinking we're going to get 80 carry-wise out of Omega this time? Maybe a Heimerdinger?
Oh, maybe a Heimerdinger. I will say we did see, Sivir did get nerfed, but yeah, we see the Mumu ban. I wouldn't mind seeing a Sivir necessarily. If they want to play something super funky, right? Here's what you do, okay? You play, all right, bear with me. You play a Kali Scion bot lane.
You just want to see an energy champion.
Yeah, okay, look. I'm joking.
Shen.
A Kali Scion bot lane is terrible, but that's Vayne locked in the top lane. But honestly, I think we're going to see something just relatively standard. I think we might see a Sivir. We might see something like a Lucian, potentially. I think Omega Gaming Obsidian, I think they're actually just going to try to play bot lane this time. I know that might sound crazy, but I think they're actually just going to try to play a standard bot lane this time.
If we see something like a Caitlyn come out, I think that'd be great right now. Something like Caitlyn Thresh, even. Nice long range, still decent engage. Sivir's all right.
Come on. You couldn't give me something.
You're not allowed to get anything right. Go ahead, guess the support.
Thresh.
Doesn't matter. Sion's already been picked.
There's no way it's a Sion Jinx bot lane.
This is a Vayne top lane. They need to pick Jax right now.
That's true. It's not banned. It was banned in the last game, although I actually think Omega Gaming Obsidian are the ones that banned it. But
they are.
So in theory, this could be something else. I will say I do like seeing the Thresh. Instead, it's the Yuumi.
Okay.
The cat that everybody loves to hate.
Okay. I like Yuumi on Jinx a great deal. Gives Jinx the mobility that she doesn't have. And when you take a look at Hard Hat Zone, mobility is something they do. They've got a lot of dashes on their team, some great AoE. Yet again, what they're lacking is the AoE CC that they had last time, right?
Right.
Obviously, Lilia can do that in the perfect storm, but so far not a thing. Nautilus is going to provide a little bit, but the biggest thing that Nautilus provides is engage, something they had none of prior.
Yeah, those hooks are going to be really good. And I will say, if you see an Udyr running at you, you can't, not so much the sound, but if you see an Udyr running at your team, you can just say, all right, stop right there. And I mean, Dragon Mooncake is phenomenal on Nautilus. It has plenty of experience on the champion, can do so much damage with these hooks. And I will say, sometimes you can get a 2-for-1 bringing in the Jinx and the Yuumi. At the same time, though, that can also be a little bit of a curse. So I do think I think there's now a lot of pressure all of a sudden on Dragon Mooncake to really make sure that the engages are good and that he does not accidentally just force his team into a fight they don't want to take.
I mean, that being said, all we saw last game, the entirety of last game, was good engages from Dragon Mooncake, right?
That is true.
So I respect the confidence of this pick of drafting your entire team around one person getting good fights. But the biggest thing is they have incredible disengage, even if it is a bad engage. Nautilus can get in there with the hook. Sure, if it's not a great hook, he's got a couple ways to slow and CC his way out. But I mean, Vayne's just going to go invisible and roll away. Lily is just going to run and knock people out as she goes. Azir can do whatever he wants, including build a wall of sand, apparently. And Zeri's just going to dash. And it is what it is. Honestly, it's an incredible composition for a single source of engage and one tank. The real problem that they run into is if they are ever in a situation where they cannot burn through both the Scion and the Udyr at the same time.
Right.
Which is where the Vayne comes in.
Yeah, but I will also say, I mean, we're talking about the disengage. I mean, I get they don't the Udyr and the Scion just can't catch them, right? Like they're the only option that Omega Gaming Obsidian has is to run at Hard Hat Zone and I guess try to cut off their paths of retreat with Xerath. But it's just I'm looking at this now and it's like Omega Gaming Obsidian literally have no way to actually lock down Hard Hat Zone, right? Like they can only run at them. Unless we get phenomenal Flash Bear slaps.
It's the strangest pick comp is really
Yeah.
the only way that you can put it. Xerath can hit an E and get the stun, and it's good. Scion sits in a bush and hands a nice charged up Q and gets a big knock up, and there's another one. Udyr sits in a bush. Yuumi, the big thing here is it's also kind of a Yuumi engage, right? If Yuumi hits that slow, you're not really walking away from an Udyr or a Scion once you're slow, because by the time you're not slow anymore, you probably have Lost Chapter coming over the top of you too.
Right.
So last chapter. Sorry.
Same difference, but I guess actually no. The thing is, those are actually two distinct things that we do have to differentiate in this game, because it's not enough that we have a billion names of things, but some of them have to be one letter apart. That being said, I do kind of want to ask: do we think that Retroflexion is going to be taking cleanse, heal, exalt? Like what do we think that second summoner spell is going to be for Xerath? Or do we think maybe Retroflexion will be so bold as to not even take the flash?
If I were Retroflexion, I would either be running Flash, Ignite even, but probably Exhaust personally.
Okay.
That's another neat evolution thing that's happened over the years. Exhaust used to be strictly support, and Ignite was the AD carry.
Right.
And we've seen a change in that really happen. I think it was season 7 that it really came about, where, because you wanted to have the ADC have Exhaust because assassins are super meta. So your support wasn't always around to exhaust the assassin at the right time, so they just kind of traded it off. It was originally because Ignite would pick up kills. So
I see.
Yeah.
And
so neat to see the change.
Yeah, and so and as these team comps evolve, and as your summoner spells evolve, you too can evolve your own gameplay and drafting by checking out our wonderful sponsor, Pro Comps. Again, an all-in-one drafting tool that you can use as a player, as a coach, competitive or casual, to take your drafting to the next level by seeing matchups, seeing statistics, comparing your own gameplay to that of your opponent, and seeing what will fit best into your team. You can use the code CCS at checkout for Pro Comps for your first 3 months at 50% off. Once again, we'll be back in just a couple of minutes to see if Omega Gaming Obsidian can come back into this series, or if Hard Hat Zone are going to close out today 2-0. Don't go anywhere.
Everybody, panic! Hold on. I'm about to say something really cool. 3, 41, 9, and lift off! No one dies screaming without me. I feel like I forgot to shoot something. You're starting to bore me. She's such a loser, always ready to cry. Ah, come on. What's the worst that could happen?
Hello, everybody, and we are back just about to start the action for game number 2. All of the summoners are now out onto the Rift. Just a brief 5-point fan out, and one thing to note is that Retroflexion has actually indeed gone for the cleanse, and we have had no spicy swaps, no lane swaps. That is, so things are just going to be pretty standard here. And so, Oshi, who do we think has the advantage kind of in this early game?
Oh, it's so up in the air where to go initially. Well, now I'm going to say Cool Crab has the advantage. That's a nice 40 gold in his pocket. Or so. But no, super early on, I mean, it's still favorites Hard Hat just because of the damage and the CC that they have at level 1. You don't have that on the other side. If you want to go lane by lane, I mean, level 1 is even top lane, but Vayne ultimately hard counter Scion. That's the whole point of the pick. Right. Jungle is relatively fair. Mid lane is going to be relatively fair. Mid lane is going to be boring as all get out unless Alternative manages to pick up some kind of a big lead and catches Demo just too far from tower. Yeah. Bot lane is where all the heat is going to be, as we expect every single game. So,
you know, funny enough, the mid lane, that's canon. That's a canon fight. So, you know, I'm excited to see it. But Dragon Mooncake goes in with the pretty aggressive hook into the passive lockdown, and King Sybil gets chunked down a pretty, about down to 50-60% HP, but that will be healed up relatively easily by Cool Crab. The benefit of having a Yuumi on your side of the battlefield. And for now, you know, I imagine things will remain relatively peaceful, and Retroflexion and Dragon Mooncake, they just put the wave in. One thing to note, Bennett did actually start... Dragon Mooncake just barely not getting that hook. But Bennett did start off leashing Llama, who looks like they are going for a full clear right off the bat. And Delilah looks like they're going to do the same thing on this Udyr.
Yeah, I mean, on the Udyr, it's got to be super expected, right? Your clear is so fast. I mean, take a look at the camps right now. He's already burned through 3 and is onto his red. Lily has burned through 3 and is just starting Wolves, so we're going to see the blue and versus Krugs come down. Look, he's already moved down. Yeah. So they'll be getting to the bot around the same time. Probably going to see a bit of action around that crab, but I don't know how that's going to go early for either side. I mean, King Sybil obviously going to be looking to push this in. If they can hit the level 3 and get that advantage, that'll be good. This is where top lane gets painful for the Scion, by the way. Once that Vayne passive gets in with the W, the percent health base, it's just pain.
Yeah, it's so hard to lock down this Vayne, so hard to try to really get any advantage against her. It's just, there's not much to say. It is one of the most iconic counter matchups. Alternative is taking a fair chunk of damage in this mid lane, and it actually does look like, you know, Delilah did go in and check the jungle, but got the crab with relative ease. Retroflexion is very low on HP, but does level up, gets a little bit of health back, and so for the time being, this Zeri Nautilus bot lane is just going to have to be careful. And Llama coming up to the top side of the map isn't going to get there in time. It looks like it's going to be a double crab for Delilah.
Yeah, and you know what? As Udyr, you have to expect it. He's so fast on his clear.
Oh no,
Llama,
no, got
Llama,
too
no.
aggressive. The Delilah's just going to be able to chase down the deer, and Alternative can do absolutely nothing to help. Just has to collect the wave. And first blood going over to Delilah. This could start the snowball, especially as Retroflexion stays very, very weak thanks to that prowling projectile.
Yeah, this time around, Delilah took a look and said, "No, you deer are mine," and picked up that kill in the mid lane. It was there. I had to. You deer. I am Udyr. You are just deer. I gotta say, so far in this bot lane, I gotta give it to Cool Crab for doing great. One of the things that I hate to see on Yuumi players is when they don't disconnect and take advantage of their passive with the auto attacks. Cool Crab doing a great job of that, helping harass Retroflexion out of lane and into that early recall, and a 10 CS lead right now, as well as a level on both over top of the 80 carry in this bot lane.
Dragon Mooncake is actually a level up over Retroflexion at the moment.
They've completely harassed Retroflexion away from minions over and over and over. Incredible aim. Best in the Spirit Realm coming through on all of those Qs. Yeah. So, but again, it's this Vayne that we got to watch, because if the Scion falls behind and can't tank up too well, then the Vayne's just going to shred that entire front line.
Yeah. And I mean, Retroflexion is just going to be able to charge up so many stacks once we get in team fights. Just free firing into the Scion. So that Zeri passive should be doing some numbers. But Llama is down here on the bottom side of the map. Dragon has spawned, but again, health. These dragons are pretty bulky. Lilia with the additional damage to monsters. Probably projectile does hit. Should take it down pretty quickly, but not if she gets chunked down below half HP. Dragon Mooncake goes in, but Xerath over the top already has the ultimate. Is putting down so much damage. Retroflexion is going to be left to die. Delilah picking up a second kill.
There is so much that just happened right there. That was all incredible. That looked like a great hook, like you said. Got the 2-for-1 pull-in off of King Civil, getting Cool Crab in as well. Both summoners burned from Cool Crab, by the way, the Exhaust and the Ignite. Perfectly well targeted. Cleanse from Retroflexion came out, died anyways. Only the Flash burn for King Civil. Very important because, again, no mobility on this Jinx otherwise. But, again, it came down to Delilah in the right spot, and you called it as it happened. Demo with the ult over the top. That was huge bursts, and all 3 of those shots landed on the entire team that was down there. There was no individual target. He just said, "You're all
the target."
Just you're all.
Yeah, and I mean, we're seeing right now that Demo is the one that's consistently getting this push in the mid lane. Alternative is stuck underneath the tower having to catch the wave, and while Demo is able to roam and participate in these fights in the river, Alternative isn't, and it's detrimental to Hearthstone. Not just because Alternative is one of their best players, but because it puts them at a permanent numbers disadvantage.
And we saw the incredible work that the Azir put in the last game, and we're expecting to see very similar things this time around once he gets going. So Cool Crab with a huge false out there, just making it look like the jungler may have been coming, just pushing this.
No. Alternative goes in, tries to use the Emperor's Divide, but misses Demo. Demo misses the next ability as well, and Alternative just barely gets out of there as Llama comes in to save his mid laner. But the Rite of the Arcane does get popped off, and it does not hit anybody, but Alternative surviving with such little HP.
Yeah, that was a situation. The big thing there, though, Flash popped from Demo. Got to take what you can in that situation when there's no kills, but also no deaths. Technically speaking, you kind of got to call that a W for Alternative. Didn't lose his Flash.
Didn't
die. Sure, he didn't pick up a kill, but he burned a summoner, and that's sometimes good enough. What that means is the Lilia can come back around. Now level 6, if you can hit that siege from downtown and get a nice sleepy time, into the Emperor's Divide, that's a free kill for certain. So I'd be paying attention for that, and I bet Demo is too.
Yeah, and now I think Demo we're going to see. Demo was pushing up, was playing pretty aggressive. I fully expect Demo to just sit underneath the tower now because Alternative, the Emperor's Divide, almost back up already. That Flash is only a quarter of the way there. Delilah is now hovering on this bottom side of the map as Llama is just now coming out of the base, heading down towards this bot side as well. So Retroflexion and Dragon Mooncake, they're playing pretty safely, but Delilah is making their way into the lane. I'm interested, if Llama stays down here long enough, might be able to counteract this gank as long as Retroflexion and Dragon Mooncake don't get too feisty.
A little bit of a lesson coming in with Delilah right here. When you're playing the Udyr, you've got that blue buff. Even if you're just sitting in a bush waiting for a gank, use your abilities. It keeps your passive stacked, that monkey stance stacked, keeps your attack speed up. And here goes Cool Crab with the biggest of
Dragon
baits.
Mooncake goes in, and Llama is coming around from the back, but that is the double root coming in. Llama flashes in with a phenomenal Q, putting on the Drowsy, sending 2 to sleep. Delilah and King Civil, they're here to pick up the kills, though, and once again, Demo with the Rite of the Arcane with the roam down the priority. That's 2 more kills going into the pockets of Omega Gaming. Obsidian, an Alternative now, has already used the Sand Soldiers, is not getting out of here anytime soon. Uses the Emperor's Divide, is going to start walking away. The exhaust comes through, providing the movement slowdown, but Sauter, Delilah, they're going to get this chase down with absolutely no problem. I think that flash might have been unnecessary, but Sauter picks up their first kill of the game.
I agree that it was unnecessary in that the kill definitely would have come one way or the other, but Sauter needs what he can get at this point in time. Take a look. He's 30 CS down in this top lane. Nothing but a Warden's Mail to go back up with. He needed the gold. He needed the armor. and actually picking up a Cinder as well there, super useful for him in this lane. I have to say, he's doing incredible. Sure, 30 CS down, terrible, that hurts, but he hasn't died. He's picked up a kill, and ultimately he's 500 gold down. Okay, your team's 3k up. Take it, right? This is what playing the weak side is all about. Now, that being said, you're 3k up. 2,500 or 2,000 of that, sorry, is on your jungler right now, which is an Udyr, which, as we said, eventually they're just going to walk away from.
Yeah.
So,
but you know, Delilah again is one of the best players currently on the Rift. Absolutely, didn't really see it in the last matchup, but I mean, you know, last matchup it was Llama dominating the Rift. This matchup, Delilah is already taking things into their hands. 4 kills. I mean, 100% kill participation at 11 minutes with those 5 kills, and is already getting the 100% neutral objective control so far. Got the double crabs in the early game. This Udyr is just performing phenomenally, and so far this bottom lane, Retroflexion, Dragon Mooncake, they can't even get a single plate.
I gotta say, I thought that hook hit tower. There was no minions left. This is it right there.
Demo,
the divide
a gifted kill, but the bonk over the top does not actually hit Demo. It looked like Llama was anticipating something else, but we see the Yuumi on the Udyr. The lockdown comes down onto Alternative, but Dragon Mooncake is on the roam. We do see the Drowsy come through. Delilah gets put to sleep, but manages to run away, and the Super Mega Death Rocket does hit 3, but it's just a deter from a little bit of extra chase. Hey, there's a shutdown. Well, it wasn't a shutdown, but there is a kill onto Demo. Horizon are on the board.
And guess what? Dragon has come up. That could be theirs if they so choose to stick around for it. No priority in the bot lane, so this is kind of a 3v3 situation because Alternative had to recall as well.
Ooh, they are all. It is currently 3v3, but Retroflexion is on the way. Dragon Mooncake gets pulled in. Retroflexion even pops the ultimate. King Civil is trying to do the damage, but gets hit with the exhaust. Delilah trying to chase down the Zeri, and Delilah goes unstoppable. Meanwhile, Bennett has arrived, just trying to get some additional kills, but the damage goes the other way. Delilah getting healed up. Cool Crab providing the healing, and we thought the Dragon was going to hard had zone, and Delilah said, no, you are not taking away my objectives. These dragons are mine.
Fun fact, I'm sure anybody watching this right now is seeing the Udyr just burst people. You see a big pop of damage when that Phoenix Dance comes out. That's because he's got a 10-stack Dark Seal, by the way, on this Udyr. And yes, that Phoenix Stance does in fact scale with AP. This is an old school thing to see, not something that I have seen in years at this point. Love to see it. Additionally, the turtle also bit of an AP stack coming through. Oh my god, he has 0 points in turtle.
No defense, only offense.
0. He has 1 stack in Tiger, 5 in Phoenix, 3 in Bear, and none in Turtle. He's going fast and going hard, and that's all he knows.
Who needs health? Who needs a shield when you can just kill people instead?
Oh man,
the best defense is a good offense.
This man is living proof of that. Look at the speed on him. The ghost comes out.
Is running for Bennett, trying to get it down. Bennett tries to get the knockback, but it is a 2v1 that you are absolutely not going to win. They just chew through the veins. Health 7-0-2 at 14 minutes. Delilah is having a monster of a game. Objective bounties are going to be available here soon. Llama has to go up top to try and collect this wave.
The biggest thing there is that barely offset his jungle timers. Take a look. Blue buff up, red buff isn't. Even Raptors are just... Oh my god, Raptors. I'm so sorry. I wanted to say Wraiths. Because it's Udyr. I can't. I mean,
they're not. Look, they're gonna look. They'll be as dead as Wraiths soon enough. Okay, like the Udyr just choms them up. Like that's that's just chicken, right? Like that's just good chicken for Udyr. Nom nom. Farming up so well, and Reflection can't even sit underneath the turret against this Jinx Yuumi bottom lane. And I guess I would say kind of the one thing for hard head zone is that you haven't had a full on 5v5 yet, but I don't think they win that either.
No, probably not. And you know what? Let's do the 15-minute checkup on everybody right here. We mentioned the Bomby Cinder and the Warden Mail coming in. On the other side, we do, in fact, have the Shield Bow, because you don't have to go Kraken Slayer when you're Vayne. You do the percent-based damage anyways. Sunfire coming out into the Leandries Extinguish, and then another Leandries. So a lot of burn coming through. They really want to harass out this tanky front line of Omega Gaming here. Good plays by Hardhat, assuming they can get themselves in a situation to do it. On the other side, the Luden's Tempest looking to pop people. You've got a squishy enemy team. Heck yes, good pickup. The biggest thing, though, is this bot lane. There's nothing on Zeri yet.
Right.
It looks like a shield bow is coming, but there's just nothing there. And then a Kraken Slayer pickup on the Jinx. Massive. Not the tankiest team, but the attack speed that comes with it just lets you rock it all day.
Right. And, Zeri Retroflexion is currently rocking 1,300 gold in inventory right now, so should be getting pretty close to being able to buy that mythic. But again, yeah, it's not here right now, and that's kind of the important thing.
Stun gonna come out here on the... No, he didn't eat you.
Nope.
Okay.
Okay, Sauter just gets out of there cleanly. Oh,
Now
Retroflexion. Oh, Retroflexion is just dead. Oh, maybe not.
No,
Actually,
definitely dead.
Okay, there. Yep, and there is the dead. The Lilting Lullaby has to come out from Llama defensively, but the right of the Arcane invests the flash, does Llama to get away from it below half health, and Dragon Mooncake is forced to just run for the hills.
Demo has such good timing, so much control in this mid lane, and just able to go anywhere he wants, exactly when he wants. You mentioned the 1,300 gold that was sitting on Zeri, which obviously she has spent now. This Jinx is sitting on 16 herself. Right? So it was... True. Yeah, so there's a lot coming out there. I think we're going to see finished boots unquestionably. Who knows what's going to come after that.
With the tower falling, it is now 2,000 gold.
Yeah, so I mean, you could shopping spree.
This is like when you go to Mall of America. Yeah, we see the Zeal purchase there, plenty. Yeah, like King Civil. Yep. This is the game where King Civil, after the last game, says, "All right, you know what? Sure, maybe Dragon Mooncake outdamaged me last time. It's my turn." Like King Civil and Delilah, it is their time to shine. And once again, it looks like they're picking on Demo because the Xerath was a little bit too far forward, didn't get the chance to flash, and third kill of the game. Now on to that Xerath. But I mean, if you're Omega Gaming Obsidian, I think you don't really care how many times the Xerath dies.
No, it's definitely not high on your priority to be super concerned with, especially when you picked up Rift Herald. At the same time there, in trade for the support flash and the support ult, both used there. I mean, that hook was well within range. He just didn't want to give any chance for reaction. And quite frankly, Demo not flashing there is a plus. You didn't burn it. You were going to die no matter what, so don't burn it. Speaking of not burning...
Retroflexion managed to get out of there just barely, but that does lock down priority over the Dragon Pit, and Delilah with the Yuumi on top of the bear. That's going to be soul point without so much as a fight from the side of Hard Hat Zone. And Oshi, I have to ask you, if you're Hard Hat Zone right now, like, where do you try to find an advantage? Is there somewhere that you can look for? The Xerath has taken 2 kills. You have 2 kills on our alternative right now. Do we think that putting the Xerath in a side lane and just trying to poke away at these towers is the way to do it? Or like,
you put a Xerath in a side lane and he dies. And like Idrees, if you put a Xerath in a side lane, he's got no way to wall himself off, which means Idrees is just going to walk on him repetitively over and over and over. What you need is this Vayne moving.
Okay.
Right? Vayne is 1 and 2. Sure, okay, but 7,300 gold total in that top lane, just sitting up there farming over and over. Not picking up kills, not taking tower. You gotta let them loose. Right?
Yeah.
Like Bennett has to be on the map wreaking havoc very, very soon, because this is what's gonna start happening.
Oh, Delilah and Cool Crab are here, and they are not here to mess around. Bennett does manage to get underneath the turret with the tumble. The Lilting Lullaby comes through, puts 2 of them to sleep. Llama wants to make something happen here, but Sauter has arrived to make the numbers uneven and unfair. The turret helps out just a little bit. An alternative has arrived on this Azir. Sauter is getting burned down, but the right of the Arcane yet again. Demo with the long range ammunition just chunks them away again and again. It looked good for Hard Hat Zone briefly, but Retroflexion and BBB Llama, all they can do is try to stay underneath the turret and try to keep their structures alive, and it just doesn't matter. The rest of the team has come up here, but that is 2 kills over to the side of Omega Gaming Obsidian. They're going to take this tower. They have not dropped a single member up here on the top side. And during this, King Silva's on the bottom side. That's going to be another turn, and they both go down at the same time.
Demo, and I'm doing this intentionally, is a wrecking ball. in this game. When he chooses to swing, it is from downtown, and it is devastating. Every single right of the arcane shot is placed incredibly. If it is not hitting, it is zoning, and when it does hit, it's normally 2 or more, and it is everything you could ask for. He barely leaves his lane and has the same, if not more, impact than Alternative once he gets there. Delilah knows the exact limits he's playing within. Cool Crab doing everything he can to allow Delilah to push those limits a little farther should he choose to. It's everything you could ask for in this team comp. We were saying at the start, how do they get in? The simple answer, they just do.
Yeah, we were wondering, like, oh, they can only run at them. Turns out running at them, it works. It works pretty well. And one thing to note is Demo. I mean, every time we've seen Demo use that right of the arcane, it is absolutely perfect in terms of the range. That little like burning line that you see, that's how far it can go. Demo is on the edge of that range every single time. Does not roam 1 centimeter farther than they have to. And the ultimate's already back up. If Alternative wants to join the fight, Alternative has to already be there, or they have to TP over there. And so you're always going to have pretty much a man up right now if you are Omega Gaming Obsidian. And for Hard Hat Zone, unless you want to start deathballing and letting Omega Gaming Obsidian just farm up in the side lanes as much as they want, then you're just stuck in a rut.
Here's the thing. When you take a look at Hard Hat, what's your main damage choices? You're looking at a Vayne, you're looking at a Zarya. Zarya's going to do some damage, yeah, for sure, but you've got 2 AD carries, okay? Now go ahead and take a look at the Udyr right now. Not only is he sitting on a Sunfire, he's also got a Frozen Heart. Go ahead, shoot him. You're not going to shoot him very quickly from that point onwards, and quite frankly, I expect a Thornmail at some point too. It's not ending well for them. This bear with the cat on his shoulder is horrifying.
Yeah.
It's the worst pirate you could ever imagine.
We need when the new Udyr gets released, like there has to be a pirate Captain Udyr. But anyway, but besides that, I mean, currently Delilah went back, bought the Frozen Heart, still has 1,100 gold already to their name, so is looking pretty clean on that. Still hasn't lost a single stack on this Dark Seal, and obviously, Frozen Heart, Sunfire Cape, Udyr is difficult to kill. There will also be a Scion there with the exact same items with even more health, so that just makes it infinitely more difficult. And Demo now has picked up the Shadow Flame as well. We're really starting to see those item advantages come in across the board. The only person on the side of Hard Hat Zone that has really kept up is Bennett, currently with those 2 items, the Wit's End locked down as well. And right now, there's 15 seconds for Infernal Soul for Omega Gaming Obsidian, and Hard Hat Zone don't even look like they're trying to scout, poke, or prod into that side of the jungle.
How could you possibly get anywhere near it? I mean, the vision they do have is great, but then you hit those pink wards from blue team, and that's the end of it right there. You get nothing past it. The dragon is down. The dragon is soon to go back up in flames himself, and this will be the soul going over with ease. I gotta say, I like Bennett's purchase of the Wit's End here. The bonus move speed on attack is going to be beneficial because kiting is what they have to be doing. Unfortunately, there is never a situation where they get to use it right now. It just isn't happening. We are seeing everything we expect to see out of an Omega team. Not just this team, but any Omega Gaming team. Once they control the map, they control the whole map. It's never one piece. It's 100% or 0%.
Yep, and this Baron is going down, sticking with that 100% neutral objective control so far. They haven't even lost a turret. Like, Llama doesn't even try to flash into Smite, none of that. It was just, they aren't, at this point, it seems like they're scared. They're, 8K down, 8,500 gold down. And I mean, I'm going to be honest, at this point, you can't go that much farther down. I wanted Llama to just to flash in there and just try, you got to make something happen. And right now it just seems like they're saying, okay, well, I guess the comms right now are, we scale
go next
or go next.
Yeah, at this point it's I don't know how many people, if you ever watch Rainbow Six Siege, every now and then you've got one player left in a round and you just you take an unofficial timeout, right? You just start talking about what comes after this, right? They're not trying to forfeit, but they're just talking about next game. What are we going to do different? Who are we going to play? What are you guys thinking? That way, what's happening right now doesn't affect the mental the same.
Yeah.
It's something a couple pro teams have talked about way back in the day, because that's all I can seem to remember at the moment. And I wouldn't be too surprised to hear if that's what was going on right now. But they do have 2 incredible hyper carries and their AD carries. Oh. So yeah, you're right. They do scale, but you're not really scaling into anything right now.
Yeah, and Dragon Moonkick and Retroflexion just got chunked down to below half HP. Alternative did as well, as did Bennett. They all went from about 100% HP to about half health. The durability... Seraph does not care about your durability update, quite frankly. And so we see this Baron push. It's just continuing. And I mean, it's pretty much exactly just saying Llama just gets eaten. Even backwards. With Flash just gets it happens. Sometimes the curse is in the wrong place. I don't think Llama was getting out of that anyways. I think the next part of that final chapter would have just rooted Llama down. And I mean, if we thought Hard Hat Zone made a statement in the last game, unless we can see something absolutely crazy out of Alternative and Retroflexion here, we're starting to see some kills come through, but none of them are on the blue team. Nothing is coming up Hard Hat Zone. And game number 2, we saw a phenomenal stomp in game number 1, and we saw another one again. Alternative even falls to complete the Ace Omega Gaming Obsidian lockdown game number 2.
What more can you ask for a game 2 right there? Right? Like, that was phenomenally well played in every single aspect from Omega. Like, you couldn't ask Omega to do more. We come and we take a look at the stats. Demo, 18,794 damage, okay? There are only 2 members on the opposing team who did more than half that. Okay? Average damage on the opposing team, 9,000. Less than 9,000. That's what we're looking at right now.
Wait. Okay. I want you to continue your point. But it's Solder only did 4,000 damage and still somehow just completely did his job.
Yeah, that's weak side though. 100%. Yeah. Look at Solder's KDA, 7.0. Why? 0 deaths. That's the only thing that matters there. That's it. Yeah. That is how you play weak side, 100%.
Right.
I still don't think the Vayne pick was bad. I think it was an okay option in the overall.
Right.
But again, what did we say and how many times do we have to say it? How do you translate that lead to your team? The number 1 difference between pro gameplay and plat gameplay is that 100%, because it isn't a single person thing, it's a team thing. You get that Vayne ahead, that Vayne is now your AD carry. Put your Zeri up there. Let your Zeri be under tower. Let them farm up, because all they have had happen to them all game is get harassed at a lane. You have to be able to translate leads. Otherwise, this is what happens.
Yeah. And so, I mean, after that Hard Hat Zone, I'm going to be honest, after the Hard Hat Zone went, like, that was kind of exciting. It was an explosive game. This one just felt like bullying, right? It was just brutal. Omega Gaming Obsidian didn't even, I mean, honestly, I think even if Bennett went to another lane, I don't think it would have mattered, because all I got to say is Demo, we see those damage numbers. It's because Demo was just in every fight because they wanted to be, because they run perfectly. So, I mean, now we didn't, we saw the Amumu ban come out, but I will say for Omega Gaming Obsidian, I think you can take the lesson away of, okay, maybe against good teams, we actually have to play a real support.
Yeah, maybe, right? But again, maybe Nautilus is a real support. Got to give him that, right? And then on the other side, it worked too, but only taking away the Amumu should not have shut an entire team down. Yeah, Amumu did phenomenal in game number 1. No questions asked, was played to near perfection.
Right.
But removing one AoE CC support champion when there's 5 or 6 others that do the same thing really should not have resulted in that. What we saw right there is Delilah doing what they do best on a comfort pick. Absolute 100% map control. You take a look at the deaths that happened on Hard Hat Zone, it was not focused on one character. It was spread all throughout the whole map. There was one point where it was 2, 3, 2, 2, 3. Just everybody dies. Absolutely careless.
So, We'll have to see. I mean, they're going to have to take a little bit more care if they want to win game number 3. Omega Gaming Obsidian, the momentum is now absolutely in their favor. They will be put back onto red side coming into this third and final match of this very important third and final game. We're not playing a third match. We're playing a third game. If I can get my words right, it would make you all understand. This is match 1. No, this is our only match of the day, but we're going into game number 3 of a very important match for both teams. We'll see who takes it home. We'll be back in just a few minutes. Hello, everybody, and welcome back. This is game number 3 of the CCS matchup between Hard Hat Zone and Omega Gaming Obsidian for our Plat League. This is Group B. It's not a battle for the top of the table quite yet. Hard Hat Zone does have one more loss than Omega Gaming Obsidian, but it would put Hard Hat Zone in a very good position to make playoffs. Omega Gaming Obsidian still look pretty solid, but Oshi, wow, okay, bans are coming through pretty fast here. Looks like both teams kind of they're doing. The Karma goes away, Aurelia goes away, and Fiddlesticks goes away. I think we're gonna see some of the same things here. What are you looking for in this final game? What have we liked so far that we want to see pulled into this one?
The 3 biggest letters that you will ever hear when it comes to any kind of MOBA game, AOE. It has been the name of game 1. It was the name of game 2, and I highly expect it will be the name of game 3.
Right.
Now, game 2, you may be going, oh, but Udyr, what did... Udyr's Phoenix stance did a ton of damage. And then you had Rite of the Arcane over the top, dealing a ton of damage. It was all AoE. It really didn't seem like it should have been, but when you looked at the comps, but it was.
Right.
Note the support bans.
That is the Yuumi gone. Omega Gaming Obsidian. They have taken away the Seraphine. That's actually what they played. Or actually, that's not. That's what Hard Hat Zone played in the first game. So
but
they
Hard Hat banned it. Hard Hat banned it last game.
I guess they don't want, I guess blue side really doesn't want somebody to pick up Seraphine. Looks like both teams have the read that Seraphine is quite strong here, and then Omega Gaming Obsidian, hey, banning the Amumu seemed to completely cripple Hard Hat Zone in the previous game, so they're doing it again on this one. But Hard Hat Zone picks up the Jarvan, the 4th for Llama. He always looks very good on this champion.
King Jarvan the 4th. Thank you.
Well, he'd be king of the jungle though.
He's certainly going to do his best now if we do see Udyr come out, though. No Lion stand, but he was a force to be reckoned with last game.
Right.
Doesn't necessarily do the best into Jarvan, though, because Jarvan can just ult you and then EQ out. The unbanned Taric, though.
That is, it's up for now, and there's the protection.
So it reminded me of the baby cage when you said the timeout zone. Yeah, it was great. So, Taric coming in, definitely going to be support. First picking support is fine by me, especially when it's Taric.
Jungle, man. Come on.
Taric top lane has been played. Don't push your luck.
But, I mean, it's something that you mentioned, like, early in that first game is, if Hard Hats don't want to try to get a pick comp, Taric, Kale, they tried to ban those, they took them out, but Omega Gaming Obsidian, they take the chance to pick up the Taric, and they actually pick up the Kayn as well. So Delilah, this is going to be, this looks like this is going to be a very, very greedy jungle game from Delilah.
And I very, very highly expect to see something like the Scion top lane again. We are going to see a very tanky top lane. We already have a very tanky support coming in.
Right.
Now I would expect to see a Lucian. I love the Renata Glask pickup here.
Too.
Yes. Very, very strong against the Kayn, strong against the Taric. Lets you have the range, with also the CC, the shielding, the healing.
Right.
Renata Glask is such an incredible character, and honestly would have done them great to pick up last game instead of Nautilus.
Oh wow, I'm just imagining Delilah on that Udyr getting so strong and then just turning around and slapping the Jinx one time. That would have done and dusted it. But Hard Hat Zone, they actually pick up the Vayne as well. Technically a flex pick, but I guess Bennett maybe wants to redeem themselves a little bit up on the top side of the map. But we'll have to see. Omega Gaming Obsidian, they've picked up the Kayn. Now the question is, are they going to continue to try to pick up some dive comp members, or are they going to change it up?
So, first off, that Vayne's bait. That's definitely going bot lane. It's that's huge. It's got to be bait. It's got to be.
Right.
I was about to say I expect to see the Lucian come in just because Taric Lucian bot lane. I may have already said that. I don't remember, but super strong because you get the engage with the double opportunity to stun coming through. Also relatively decent into Vayne as well. Very able to harass her out of lane early on. Honestly, if I were Omega Gaming Obsidian right now, I would be looking to pick up Gnar if my top lane could play it. Because then even if Vayne is a flex, you do fine into that. If Vayne is going bot lane, you do fine into whatever they pick. Gnar is just incredibly strong right now. Really not going to be too much that they could do, but we don't see it. We've seen one Gnar, I think we saw last week. Did incredible. But GP ban coming out. Kale, we suspected that would be banned again. It has been every other time.
And one thing on that Gnar point is that it did get, Gnar received some nerfs, so isn't quite as strong. GP received some nerfs as well, but that clearly has not mattered to these two teams. And Mega Gaming Obsidian, I do wonder, if Hard Hat Zone, the Vayne is bait. It can technically flex, but I guess what I really like about the solution pick specifically from Mega Gaming Obsidian is exactly right. It does really well in the Vayne, and it can literally go in whatever lane Vayne goes in. So Omega Gaming can match it literally wherever if they get the right, if they match the flex picks correctly.
Exactly. Now at this point, yeah, good ban. I want to call attention to the Orianna ban. When a Jarvan is picked, banning Orianna is always a smart call. Sejuani, wonderful pickup here. Could go. It doesn't. Again, gonna go top lane. Is the guess. I mean, Kayn isn't gonna go anywhere but jungle. Doesn't really make sense anywhere else. That Sedge is going to go top lane, and now it forces out the pick here as to whether or not Vayne is flex, right? Yeah, and then you have your mid lane.
Yeah, again, I wonder what's the Sejuani Vayne matchup. I guess technically, oh,
painful, painful for Sejuani.
Painful for Sejuani. That might be something for Hard Hat Zone to consider, but that's the Cassiopeia picked up, and what do we think they're rounding it out with, Oshi?
I mean, you're looking at a top lane or an AD carry, right? A Caitlyn wouldn't be the worst thing in the world to come out if you're looking at your bot lane, and in your top lane, I mean, play Gnar.
Pick up the Gnar yourselves? Yeah, sure.
Right?
I'd be down to see it. And I guess this Cassiopeia pickup, what do we think? That's the Urgot pickup.
Okay.
They decided to get poisonous with this comp, huh?
Just a wee bit between Renata, Cassiopeia, and Urgot. Just a wee bit. Where's Singed? Bring in the Singed. We want the tank.
Singed ADC. It would have been so good, but
Singed ADC.
Omega Gaming Obsidian now is, their red side. They get this last counter pick, and I guess this is gonna have to be essentially their mid laner, and they pick up the Ahri for demo. So two mid laners.
Mobility.
The Ahri can move much, much more than the Cassiopeia can.
Yeah, Cassio's not slow by any means, right? The snake tail and all that sort of thing. But the overall mobility coming from Omega Gaming Obsidian here is great. Kayn with the walls, Lucian dash, Sejuani dash, Ahri dash, dash, dash. So, I mean, think about it. Jarvan ults someone. Who do they ult? Taric? Okay, please do.
Right.
Kayn walks out. Lucian walks out. Sedge walks out. Ahri walks out. Okay.
This is now I think this is the most useless Jarvan pickup I've seen, but I will say the Renata pick I think is still really good because Omega Gaming Obsidian, it looks like they just said, okay, you know what? They have Renata, sure, screw it. Let's give this Kayn at least 2 more dive buddies.
Yeah. I think it's a great pickup in the overall Renata. You can use that ultimate in so many ways. The hostile takeover is one of the best AoE CC abilities in the game just because of what it does. Forcing you to deal damage to your own teammates primarily is incredible. But overall, I'm just kind of taking a look at this. And what did I say the key was? AoE, right?
Right.
Taric, you got kind of an AoE stun, I guess, a little bit if you really want to play that game. Also, great counter to any assassin-based composition because, look, you're invincible. Oh, well. Yeah, and then KO went, but Taric got picked, right? So, cool. But then taking a look at everything else, Kayn, not a lot. Lucian, not a lot. Sejuani, some AoE CC, sure. Ahri, linear AoE, I guess. But then Jarvan, straight line and circular AoE. Renata, straight line and circular AoE. Vayne is just going to do Vayne things. The AoE doesn't matter for her. Cassiopeia, massive AoE on everything. God has AoE, has knockback, has tank, has slow, and has an execute.
Yep.
I mean, Hard Hat has an incredibly devastating composition here, except everybody on Omega can just dash away from it. So can they get the catch? That's what it comes down to. If they catch Omega Gaming Obsidian slacking, they catch any of them with a finger up their nose for a split second, and it's a dead character. It's a kill and probably an objective.
Yeah, and I think I want to look at, I want to know your opinion on this. I mean, this feels like the inverse of last game where, Hard Hat Zone, technically it seemed like they could just keep dashing and running away from Omega Gaming Obsidian, but Delilah said, well, you can't run faster than me, so I'm just going to keep chasing you down. And for Hard Hat Zone, they don't really have that same type of speed, but they have, I think, better engage. And so I do feel like this team comp is a little bit better, but at the same time, like where are they going to be able to jump onto kind of these runaway, just escape, get out of here? Because it feels like if Hard Hat Zone are 2 objectives first, I think they are perfectly fine. I think they'll do really well. But I don't, if Omega Gaming Obsidian gets there first and Hard Hat Zone try to engage, they can just get out of there, right?
Yes and no. That's kind of where the Sejuani really comes in, right? You land that
Mhm.
ult on one person dies. You land a charm on one person, that one person dies.
Right.
Right? That just by the sheer amount of damage that's over here. Don't sit on Pike. Rude. Pike would have been
That would be a
great in
very
this
different
composition.
But
Pike would fit perfectly in this
Yes.
composition.
Yes.
Cannot lie about that. But again, Tarek does great as well. Ultimately, you got to take a look at the last 2 games, right? Hard Hat Zone did an incredible game 1, sure, but even when they were as far ahead as they were, their vision was not flawless,
right.
right? And now you're playing against a Kayn,
Yeah.
not just any Kayn, right? You're playing against Delilah,
Yes.
who is going to be everywhere all the time on an Udyr who can't walk through walls, and now he can.
Yes.
So
tracking junglers has been so important in this game. In the first game, we saw just how well Llama was able to do when Omega wasn't really able to, not necessarily keep track, but wasn't quite prepared for where Llama was going to be. We saw the same thing inverse in the last game, and now it's just going to be, I think it really is going to come down to, are Hard Hat Zone going to have, I've seen those TikTok ward videos where here's how you can catch out the opposing Kayn before they get weird ganks on you. And so, if Hard Hat Zone have seen those videos, I think maybe they'll be able to keep track of Delilah. But if they haven't, man, they got to be watching more TikTok.
And quite frankly, if you aren't entirely following us in this situation, we're trying to discuss all the different win conditions that come out of these 2 teams, right? That's the major points that we're trying to get across. For any of you out there who don't understand how to look that up yourself, take a look at what Stream Elements just threw down right there. Go into ProComps.
It's a phenomenal tool, once again, that you as a spectator can use for yourself. These teams, they create their drafts. They do scouting on their opponents. ProComps does that for you so that you can improve your drafting. It's the all-in-one drafting tool for coaches and players alike. Use code CCS at checkout. And in just a couple minutes, check out this final game between Hard Hat Zone and Omega Gaming Obsidian.
Everybody panic! Hold on! I'm about to say something really cool. 3, 41, 9, and lift off! No one dies screaming without me. I feel like I forgot to shoot something. You're starting to bore me. She's such a loser, always ready to cry. Ah, come on. What's the worst that could happen?
Hello, everybody, and welcome back. We are getting into game number 3, and it looks like Omega Gaming Obsidian have 5 stacked the elbow bush down here on their blue side of the map, the eastern quadrant, but PHuffZone are playing responsibly. Always play responsibly, and they are just sticking with, I mean, it's not even a 5 fan. Vane is just coming back up here to hang out with Dragon Mooncake, Retroflection, and Renata Glass just saying hello, but all right, Omega Gaming Obsidian, they have boldly stepped forward into the pixel brush, except for Demo, who's going to the mid lane.
Yeah. I mean, okay, cool. This is what we see. They want to get in there, get that early vision. They're not going to drop a ward. Delilah showed himself first. Honestly, probably would have been better for the Tark to step up so then they don't know where the jungler is. You see that blue ward on the top red side there. They're going to see Delilah going over to that red buff. Ultimately, Delilah kind of wanted to pull the bait and switch, show himself down by the red, and then go up to his own red. Gets caught out. Now everybody knows where everybody is, and off we go.
And I guess one thing to note is that Delilah and Cool Crab put down wards at the river entrances around the mid lane, so they'll be aware. I actually don't mind these, I guess, because Jarvan, level 3 wants to get a gank off, so they'll be able to see if he comes and checks out the mid lane from those areas. So, but in the meantime, Bennett gets the flip on Sauter, and we're just casually trading. So I guess Oshi, what did you put in on those wards? I'm not a huge fan of them necessarily.
Honestly, I think it gives you the vision that you're looking for. Speaking of what you're looking for, that is an incredible trade in this bot lane. That is what the Taric Lucian are built to do. You just kind of lower the defenses off that stun with the Shatter, get in there with some burst from the Lucian double gun. Expect to see it again if they can, not this time. The wards are what they are. They want to protect Delilah. I mean, we spent so much time talking about how powerful the influence of this jungler is to Omega Gaming, right? It is devastating to them when Delilah falls behind. It just is what it is. When they aren't able to snowball everybody else or snowball themselves, then it all just kind of falls apart. So putting those wards down defensively, like you said, it stops the Jarvan level 3 from going into the jungle. Unfortunately, the Jarvan level 3 is now currently looking top lane and found nothing.
Yeah, and those wards have now expired, so if Llama wants to take a visit to the mid lane, it will not be on vision, and we'll have to see how Demo wants to react to that. Meanwhile, Bennett and Sauter, they're just chilling up here. They're doing top lane things, but Llama goes in, goes for the flash, forces the flash out of Demo. The charm comes through. Llama is taking turret shot after turret shot, and first blood from Demo. Llama gets too aggressive.
The fastest hands in the West on this mid laner right here. That is jungle and mid flash going out of hard hat zone. Burned, wasted, useless. Huge pickup by Demo. Also getting the flash away from the flag and drag combo coming out. You know what? I love Alternative's thought process there. Get the miasma down, I believe. It's the W, the miasma or the Q, I don't remember, it doesn't matter. Get the W down to ground the Ahri so that she can't flash away. A little late on it. Thought process was there, just a bit too slow. But Demo, not just having the wherewithal to hit the flashes quickly, but also getting the charm and picking up that kill. And now Delilah in the mid lane.
Alternative is taking a massive chunk of damage, but is fine for the time being, and Demo and Delilah have to back off as there's some scrapping going on. Llama is here, and right now both Alternative and Delilah, they are at about equal HP levels. Llama currently at full, but it's level 3 and level 4 versus level 4 and level 5, so I don't know how well that's going to go. And meanwhile, it looks like for the time being, we're gonna get back to some relative peace as junglers go back to farming and stacking up those camps. King Civil, Cool Crab, they're continuing to have the push on the bottom side of the map. Dragon Mooncake and Retroflection, they're down CS for the time being. They'll be able to catch up a little bit, but King Civil, I think he's gonna be able to continuously push this advantage.
Yeah, and it's everything that you want when you're playing the Lucian, right? I mean, this is a relatively free push harass lane for them down there. The incredible thing for me is, like, Sauter's supposed to be playing weak side here, and up until right now was actually up in CS.
Yeah.
Was up 5 CS at one point in time. This man is a monster in this lane. He is okay being on the Lonely Island, just lives and thrives in the late game.
Right. And we'll see definitely as things progress whether or not these teams are going to be fighting very much for these neutral objectives, but I will say, I think with kind of, a Lucian bot lane, it's Lucian Tark bot lane, I fully expect Drake priority to be going over to Omega Gaming Obsidian, and, Sauter is still pushing in this wave against Bennett. I think until that Fear Beyond Death comes online, I think Sauter feels pretty confident in just hard shoving this wave constantly.
Yeah, not a whole lot to be concerned about. Not even really being harassed down too much. You can see him sitting up there with a pot in his inventory still, as well as the door and shield. So he's just going to be healing up passively and or actively should he choose. But getting this under tower is incredibly important because CSing under tower with Urgot is not fun when you have that shotgun up coming.
Right.
Because you'll try to, okay, I'll whittle the wave down, I get everything to last hit, and then I'm going to last hit this one, and now everything else dies to one tower shot. It's very, very difficult to wave manage with this character, but you can see 8 CS up, and now we've got Llama in the bot lane.
Yeah, but that said, Delilah is coming around the back. We do get a root with the handshake onto Cool Crab. They're taking a lot of damage. We see Llama go in, but doesn't have the Cataclysm yet. Can't lock anybody down, and Llama is getting chunked so low by Delilah. The exhaust lands. Llama is alive for now. Looks like everybody's going to be disengaging for a little bit. Another stun comes through from Cool Crab. Dragon Mooncake is super, super low, and King Civil gets the first kill. Delilah gets the second. Vayne manages to pick up one, but it is a 3-for-1 on the bottom side of the map. That is now a near 2,000 gold lead for Omega Gaming Obsidian, and Cool Crab is just taking turret shots for fun.
Tark things.
Yeah, you know what? You got to get those healing numbers up.
Yeah, it's all about damage taken stats, right? If you're a tank, if your damage taken is through the roof at the end of the game, it looks real good. But I agree, the heal stats, all that. I mean, it is what it is. The gank was an okay setup. Llama was in the right place. Demo does have ult up here.
Llama goes in with the flash, and Demo just says, all right, you know what? Nope, I'm just going to step away from it.
He wanted yet another flash, flag, and drag, but he forgot the flag part, so it was just a flash and drag. And Llama's showing a little bit of discomfort on this J4, I dare say, after the last couple matches where he wasn't allowed to play it.
So, I mean, it's so odd coming from Llama. Normally, again, one of the best junglers. I think people can pretty unanimously agree in the CCS. So, not having that kind of skill. We see the flag come through there, but Sauter more than capable of escaping with ease. So, it's seeing that out of Llama, that's not something that definitely feels like an uncharacteristic mistake, and might go, show a little bit towards kind of where hard hat zone are mentally, which might not be a great state. But if they can, I think they just need to maybe calm down a little bit, which seems weird considering it hasn't been too explosive, but just make sure you get your abilities right. And I do think, Llama could still make it happen if he can reset and just hit the keys correctly.
I fully agree. He's a huge utility champion right here. Thus far, looking like he wants to build into the damage side of things, which honestly, I think he should just be going a little on the tankier side. He is behind right now, right? And when you're behind and you go tanky, it can still work out when you have this much CC on your team. The biggest thing is he kept trying to force plays mid lane. Or not mid lane, before 6. What am I saying? Mid game, before mid game. He didn't have 6. He didn't have the Cataclysm, like you mentioned, which is super important.
King Civil just picks up one, very nearly picks up a second. Llama is down here, but it is too late. Cool Crab does pop the ultimate, gives the invincibility for a very brief moment, and Cataclysm comes through. It locks down 3, but Retroflexion was not there to take advantage of it, and 2 kills, 2 more going over for not even a single summoner spell for Omega Gaming Obsidian, and Delilah, that Kane assassin coming through, picking up the 3rd.
That is 2 towers deep. Well, Sauter, what your weak side, bro?
No, he's not anymore. Demo is relatively low on alternative, but Sauter has said, you know what? No, look, I may be alone, but I sure am not weak. Delilah going in on alternative. Alternative, you knew where she was, but Delilah does not quite manage to get the kill, but Bennett shoved under tower. Alternative losing a ton of HP in lane. The bottom lane is absolutely crumbling. This was the Omega Gaming Obsidian I expected to see at the start of game 1. Bennett procs the shield. The Ignite is ticking down, and Bennett just barely survives.
Sauter does not know what weak side is. He has no concept of being behind. He does not understand that he's supposed to lose lane in this game. And it's exactly what we saw last game. He was playing Scion. He was under tower the entire game against Devane. He didn't die.
Yeah.
He just farmed and won, and we're seeing it again. Delilah getting to go where they please.
And Dragon Mooncake, that is just the most dead Renata I think I have ever seen in my life. Cool Crab, Delilah, King Civil. This is a 3-man gank squad that is just eviscerating anybody in their path. This is 8 kills from Mega Gaming Obsidian before the 11-minute mark. Dragon is going over to them almost assuredly. Llama is going to attempt to take the Rift Herald in the time being, and King Civil, you know, of course, cannot miss out on that all-important CS, so it doesn't even help out with the Dragon.
Yeah, unfortunately, we are not going to see another game of 100% neutral objective control.
Right.
So be it. They need something to go their way, and quite frankly, this Herald could be a good tide turner. I say that, but he doesn't even have it yet.
No, he hasn't been able to do the damage. The Eidos proc, the smite comes through. Okay, they do pick up the Herald and try to go in on Demo. The Cataclysm comes through, but Demo is able to get out of there with absolutely no problem. Now Llama is stuck in the pit, but the hostile takeover turns this fight around. Delilah was so far ahead, but could only chop their own team down to size. A double kill for Alternative in the mid lane. That's exactly who you want your kills on if you are Hard Hat Zone.
Everything went correct for Hard Hat Zone there. They picked up the kill. They had the better positioning. Their ultimates landed flawlessly. That is exactly what you want when you're looking at a hostile takeover. Oh, your jungler's fed? This is what it feels like to be us. That's it. That's what you're saying right there. This is what it feels like. And, you know, Mooncake not in the best position. A lot of backup on his side this time, though. Very safe to be going in here. Llama's probably feeling a little bit better after all of that as well. Sure, you traded Drake, but you traded Drake for what, 2 kills and Herald? Okay, like that feels great.
Indeed. So. Yeah, they do. Of course, they do have to get the charge off, but that first Rift Herald should get them a couple of plates. Will definitely be a lot more value than usually the second Rift Herald, which can struggle to take a turret, but you can get some guaranteed gold off of that. So I will say, you know, while Delilah is definitely scary, has been putting in a ton of work, has that gore drinker pretty early. King Civil does have 5 kills and already has a 40 CS lead over Retroflexion. That's a, you know, so if King Civil decides to come up and join a fight, I think Hard Hat Zone are going to be in a bit of a pickle. But, you know, for the time being, I guess they can say, thank goodness he wasn't there, because next time he is, I mean, unless they get the Cataclysm hostile takeover on him, it's going to be very scary.
To put that into a little more context for you guys, in case you haven't taken a look at the items, Retroflexion has boots, a longsword, and a dagger. Okay, King Civil has also boots, also a longsword, an entire Gale Force, and Sheen.
Oh, hey, there's a Noon Quiver.
Right, so what we are currently looking at here is a 3,200 gold difference. All right, consider the fact that Retroflexion only has 3,500 gold. That's almost double.
Brutal. That is brutal, and like that is a majority right now of Omega Gaming's Obsidian gold lead. And I mean, honestly, who else would you rather have it on? King Civil is up on the top side trying to get a turret, but since King Civil is up there, why not try to take care of business down here? The Cataclysm comes through. Delilah tries to get the execute onto the Jarvan, but it doesn't quite come through. Finally get the kill, but actually doesn't.
Nope.
Llama survives just barely. I thought surely Jarvan would fall, but Sauter and Delilah go down. 2 more kills for Hard Hat Zone.
And what you have to ask yourself is, where was Demo in that fight? Demo was pushing mid-wave. Demo had to teleport back in, teleported to the tower, pushed the mid-wave, did not come down and join the fight. Ultimately, it is what it is, right? A couple kills went over. And once again, we see ability shields coming through to save a champion from Ignite. That's twice now that we've seen Sauter's Ignite go down and just, nope, too bad, I have a shield.
Yeah.
That's an interesting ult, Bennett.
Hey, you know, look, he tried. He was going to try to chomp somebody. It didn't really end up working. So, I mean, look, Bennett has to try something. They're 0-0-1. They haven't seen really any action. They've been sitting underneath the turret this entire time. But, I will say, while that fight was happening on the bottom side of the map, King Civil did get another turret. It wasn't solo gold. It was split with Cool Crab. So, you know, I guess you can take a little bit of solace in that, but this Lucian is just getting scarier and scarier as this game progresses. So we see the crit cloak get bought as well. No, you know, not another big item spike yet, but again, you said it, Retroflexion doesn't have that mythic item yet. So these ACs, they are not built the same right now.
Yeah, not in the slightest. And this is kind of what happens when you try to threaten that Vayne and hope to get a top lane advantage. I mean, it has not necessarily played out the best for them. I mean, yeah, they've picked up kills, but they're not really dominating that lane the way that you would hope when you essentially get a blind pick into a counter pick. But really,
right.
I mean, the draft was flawless in that regard. They forced to show the flex, and then, yeah, I don't know. This is a tough game in the overall. My stance still, the AoE is unquestionably in the favor of Hard Hat Zone. Like, no doubt in my mind that the AoE is in their favor. Team fights can be turned for them at any moment, but when things like this happen,
Dragon Mooncake, this is their one way to stay in a team fight. Dragon Mooncake just barely stays alive, does have the hostile takeover if needed. If they want to throw it down, they absolutely can, but King Civil is here for this fight and does have the cleanse so he can get out of it, and Dragon Mooncake has to go for the back. That's going to be the Drake get once again in the pockets of Omega Gaming Obsidian with no major contest, so they're continuing to rack up. And so far, it looks like this Rift, I mean, I'm going to be honest, I don't know exactly what it's going to be, but it doesn't matter right now. It's going to be a team fight in the mid lane, and Retroflexion takes down one, but King Civil is here, gets the trade. Sauter TPs into the mid lane to join the fight. This mid-tier one is surely going to fall. King Civil flashes forward alongside Sauter. Sauter throws down the Glacial Prison, but doesn't manage to get any kills. Delilah tries to go in for the execute, but will fall on the backside of it. There we go. King Civil actually takes a ton of damage from the Cool Crab and Sauter from the hostile takeover. Sauter tries to go back in by a little bit of time and does fall. That is 3 kills now going over to Hard Hat Zone, but King Civil again manages to evade them, sitting on that 700 gold bounty. Hard Hat Zone are going to turn towards the Rift Herald and try to break apart this map even more.
How many times in how many series do we see a team feel they feel like they're more ahead than they are? We just saw Delilah doing everything that we are afraid of when they get just a little ahead. In that was a double tower dive, right? Yeah, okay, sure. Early on, you double tower dove the Vayne when you were alone and Vayne had 200 HP. That's a totally different thing than when you're single-handedly diving 4 members after there's already been a hard engage from the opposing team. Definitely not an ideal scenario, but incredible collapse by Hard Hat Zone. They saw the whole thing coming. They played it very well. And you know what? What almost ended up killing King Civil was a phenomenal hostile takeover under tower.
Dragon, it's like, this is, you know, game 1 turned into the Dragon Mooncake show, and it feels like it's going to be up to Dragon Mooncake to make this game happen as well. Demo dashes out of the Cataclysm. Llama uses the ultimate for a not very big cooldown. The charm comes through the miasma, does not hit, and Dragon Mooncake is watching flank. King Civil and Cool Crab are there, but it feels like Dragon Mooncake is the one shield that Hard Hat Zone have against King Civil, just chewing them apart. But I will say, looking at, you know, the carries for the side of Hard Hat Zone, Alternative does have that 2-item spike as well. Picked up the Archangel Staff, has the stopwatch. 4-0-3 on this Cassio, and Sauter now looks like he's going to get collapsed upon. Llama coming down, doesn't have the ultimate up, but does have the flag and drag. Sauter can only run away. The Glacial Prison already used, and Sauter is very, very tanky, so it takes a little bit while, but the team is not here to join him. The Fear Beyond Death will put the pig into the meat grinder, call that pork sausage. In the meantime, mid-tier 2 will fall once again into King Civil's pockets.
You know what? This is the strength of having your side laner be someone like a Sejuani, someone like a Mundo or a Shen, is even if they do decide to commit down there and kill them, it takes so long that you can grind down an entire mid lane tower. And now Llama's got to try and get through his own jungle.
The flag does catch them out. He gets the vision, but they take that as the sign to go in. And Llama, 1, 5, and 7 now is really struggling this game. But hey, the assists have come through, and in the meantime, Bennett gets to get some gold in their pockets on the bottom side of the map. But 20 minutes have come through. Llama is dead, and Omega Gaming Obsidian, they want to go for the Baron.
I mean, they should have the damage for it with how far ahead King Civil is right now. Oh, that would have been
Dragon
devastating.
Mooncake. He managed to use the hostile takeover, but that was the escape tool. They no longer have any way to go into this fight. They have to run away. That's Baron for Omega Gaming.
Yeah, Llama just coming up right now. That was a great setup by Demo. Right place, right time. It would have been so much worse for Hard Hat Zone if he had actually hit that charm.
Right.
And so very lucky for Dragon Mooncake because he does not miss many of those. Dragon Mooncake, like you said, using the hostile takeover to get away. Unfortunate, no chance of a fight. But there is a dragon spawning in 30 seconds, so perhaps we'll see something happen there. In the meantime, though, vision check-in not good for anybody around Dragon.
Yeah, Hard Hat Zone, they are clearing away vision on their top side of the map. We saw the pings on the minimap down below. Omega Gaming Obsidian, they want to target that mid lane and the bot lane. Shelly is dropped up on the top side of the map. Looks like they're going for that top tier 1, and Dragon is spawning in just a couple of seconds, as you said. And Hard Hat Zone, they don't want to touch it. Omega Gaming Obsidian, they have priority over this pit with the Dragon, and top tier 1 should certainly fall, go into Alternative's pockets, and it looks like Hard Hat Zone have decided they have designated the carry, and that is going to be Alternative. Not a bad one, if I do say so myself. Demo, Cool Crab is coming around. Bennett might be in for a bit of a pinch, but Cool Crab uses the Blast Cone to get on out of there, and we see turrets get traded, and now it's going to come down to, I imagine we're going to see a team fight here relatively soon, but King Civil and Cool Crab, they're just going in for a push on this bottom side of the map, and it's going to come down to who can answer them right now.
I'm just taking a look at the items. Oh no, I don't want to look at the items now.
Oh no, Llama and Retroflexion, they're cut down to half. That is very important. Tark ult is burned, nobody dies, and Charm comes through onto Bennett. He's taking a little bit of damage, but nothing too scary for the time being, and now it looks like everybody is just going to retreat for the time being. But Omega Gaming Obsidian, they have put so many wards in this bottom side jungle, and they're continuing their push. They have the Baron for just a little bit longer. This siege is certainly scary, but Alternative and Dragon Mooncake are pushed very far forward without a wave.
The biggest thing that's got to be going through...
Oh no, Llama's just dead. Oh, the bailout comes through. Maybe he's going to survive. No, King Civil goes legendary, though. 8-0-1 now. Oh, no, this team fight is not looking good.
Oh.
Demo has taken down 2. Cassiopeia is the only one left alive that can do any damage. Dragon Mooncake has already used the hostile takeover. A triple kill for Demo. The last one is going to come through here in just a moment. Sauter uses the stopwatch, but it's not going to be nearly enough. This tier 3 turret is doing plenty of damage, but they just have to walk out of range. And Omega Gaming Obsidian, out of nowhere, have just won the video game.
Won the video game, he said. I had said AoE looked like it was on one side. Honestly, the AoE from the other is what is ending this game and this series. This is going to be a 2-1 for Omega Gaming Obsidian over Hard Hat Zone. They're trying to finish it. I don't think they can kill King Civil. They cannot. That is the end of it. And I mean, we saw one big turn fight right there. Just one team fight that turned the whole thing on its head. It looked like it was okay. Ultimately, only an 8k gold difference at the end of the day. Even that isn't huge by any means from what we saw in the last couple games. What do we got here? King Civil peaking at 15,000 damage. Alternative also hitting 14. Yeah. There's no massive spreads like we've become so used to seeing. Gold everywhere, relatively close. Only not even a 50 gold difference in your top lanes, less than 1,000 in your jungle, 200, 300 in your mid lane. It was all about that Vayne pick. They tried for a big bait, and it didn't go well for them. Vayne was 5,000 gold under, and it was that way from a couple minutes in.
Yeah, I mean, all of that gold was on King Civil, and King Civil made phenomenal use of it, but that just, it ended so abruptly. I mean, I guess, like, if you're Hard Hat Zone, the lesson I think that you take away from that game is, one, maybe don't try to bait a Vayne pick, but also I think you just don't fight at Baron and maybe you don't insta lose or not fight at Baron, but don't fight, don't try to team fight while the enemy team has 2 minion waves there and Baron buff. But that was just, it turned so suddenly. Omega Gaming Obsidian it was protect King Civil, and it worked out.
It worked out incredibly. I wanted to say right before that fight broke out that PHuffZone has to be sitting there thinking, where is Solder? Because he had not shown himself on the map for a solid 3 minutes. He sat in base waiting for a teleport, walked up mid lane or top lane slowly, decided he wasn't going to push it, and then cut all the way down. By the time they saw him, he was already at their mid tier 2 coming to join the fight. It was too late. They had already engaged, and you called it incredibly at the time. Where did the team fight go? It was poke here, poke there, back and forth, and then just wait. Solder showed up.
Yeah. So at the end of the day, Omega Gaming Obsidian, they hold on to their perfect record. They did lose a second game, so PHuffZone can take a little bit of solace in that and join the Moonstone Gaming Club of having taken 1 game off of Omega Gaming Obsidian. But for the time being, we will take a very brief break before we pull somebody in from Omega Gaming Obsidian for a very brief post-game interview. Don't go anywhere. We'll be back in just a couple moments.
Everybody,
Hello, everybody, and we are back with our post-game interview featuring the jungler for Omega Gaming Obsidian, Delilah. Delilah, congratulations on that win. I will say, I'm not going to lie. After that first game, I was expecting PHuffZone to just kind of steamroll the second game and carry that momentum through. So I have to ask, what were the comms? How do y'all recover, not in terms of in game, but mentally? How do you see a game like that and then come back and have such a dominant performance in game 2?
I think it all just comes down to the team that I'm playing with. We are all very close, and we know how to keep our own mentals stable. There wasn't any people being upset after the game. We all just moved on, talked about the draft for the next game, and played it the best we could.
Nice.
And speaking of the draft for the next game, pulling the Udyr out the way that you did and then going absolutely monstrous in that game. I mean, we're sitting here looking at the comp that they drafted and we're like, they're just going to walk away from the Udyr. Like, what is the game plan here? And then they never had a chance to get away from you.
Yeah.
Like,
No,
what happened in that draft? What were you guys thinking when you picked that up?
Well, I think that draft, we saw the Zarya and the Azir, I believe. And I just wanted to pick somebody that was a little bit more tankier in the jungle. And our coach gave me a couple options, just said it was kind of my boat. And Udyr's just, I think he's very good right now. If you can get the CS lead and get the XP lead, and it just kind of went down like that. And it got even better when we ended up grabbing the Yuumi. I think the Yuumi was a very good pick.
Yes.
Yeah, that made it very difficult for PHuffZone to actually run away when you have the Yuumi speed boost. But talking about that draft, I have to ask, because I know chat was having a little bit of a meme about it, and we were kind of wondering about this as well. What was the call for the Scion first pick?
It's completely simple. We just trust our top laner with playing weak side. We needed the tank.
Yeah,
he could go into the front, and he played it very well. into the vein as well. Like obviously
Yeah.
the
Into the
vein was
hardest of counters.
yeah.
Mhm.
I mean, he got it. Like yes, I saw that he did. Like I think it was like 4K damage, I believe, at the end of the game.
Yeah.
But the thing is, like with that pick, we're not picking it because we need him to do damage. We're picking him to just stay in the lane and survive.
Right.
Yeah.
And then
So what-
later on, he was more just as effective as anybody else on the team, maybe except Demo, because I think Demo went insane that game. I believe.
that
Yes.
there's no doubt about that. We talked way too much about Demo's influence in the team
Mhm.
fights for sure. Honestly, I'm just hearing that you all trust each other an incredible amount. That's everything that you said, from your coach, even including your coach saying, hey, here's a couple picks, but it's entirely up to you. You saying we trust our top laner. I mean, and then quite obviously your entire team trusts you to just be insane when you have to be in those situations. You all trusted King Civil to be able to transfer the lead that they picked up into an entire team fight situation. Even in the, like we called it so many times, the Renata Glass hostile takeover was devastating in a couple of team fights, but you all still trusted one another to pull all the way through. For you guys as a team, does that extend beyond the game? Like, do you chat with everybody on a regular, or are you strictly a team?
Oh no, I hang out with, like, I'd say a majority of the people on the team just regularly, just people that I hang out with on a daily basis, playing
Nice.
League or whatever the hell else we're doing at the time.
That's always good to hear. Having a team that is, obviously teammates can be just teammates, and then there are people who both on and off the Rift can have a good time together. I mean, that honestly, that is always the best way to run a team, I think. But I also want to ask, speaking of your team has managed to go undefeated, not in terms of necessarily game score, but match record. You've only dropped 2 games, but you've gone undefeated in your match record so far. I don't think you're technically like officially locked for playoffs yet. I think there's some like really weird situations where like, if you lose to Nameless Love Stage, maybe you get out if you lose out. But so far, you're definitely the top team, at least in Wednesday. I think some people would say in the league overall, maybe ID Frozen is a bit of a threat. But, so far, who are you looking at as kind of like going into potentially playoffs? Like, who's your toughest competition, do you think?
To be honest, I'm not really certain. I know that when we played Moonstone, they were a very strong teim.
Mhm.
But I haven't looked into too many of the other teams at the moment for overall competitiveness. So if I was to just throw a name out there, it'd probably be Moonstone, because that match was very difficult at the time. I think I played well there, and it was it was a good set overall. But they're a good team.
Absolutely. Well,
Yeah.
You heard it here first, folks. Omega Gaming Obsidian, the best team in the league, are most afraid of Moonstone Gaming. So jot that
I
down.
wouldn't say afraid.
They're most aware
I
of
will
Moonstone.
I will be very surprised if we drop a set before playoffs. I think the team is operating extremely well.
Ooh.
That is bold. Hey, we love to hear those spicy, bold takes. I hope Chelsea writes about that in their weekly report. We'll have to see though. So, but Oshi, I do want to ask any last questions for Delilah.
No, honestly, I saw everything I needed to see in those games. You guys seem to have a pattern where you draft wild and then draft hard following that. I mean, your first game both times were just out the window. We're going, what is happening? And the game doesn't necessarily go too great. And then 2 and 3 were just insane games.
Yep.
So
Sim is our coach is very talented when it comes to the draft, and I think the first game he was kind of just letting things slide, and then the last 2 he locked down the draft and he took care of business.
yeah, certainly seems that way.
Indeed. Well, again, Delilah, thank you so much for this interview. Again, congratulations on keeping that perfect record. Any last words for you? Any last things you would like to give?
How do I phrase this? Let's hope we can pick up a chip for the only real Omega in CCS.
Hey,
Danger,
to all the other Omegas, I would consider that a threat if I were you. But Delilah, again, congratulations. Thank you so much for the interview. And of course, that will be it from us. We got to see just how strong Hardheadzone, they were able to make a statement, show that, hey, they're still in this. They're nothing to laugh at. But Omega Gaming Obsidian showed not only that they're the best team in the league still to this moment, but they have that clutch factor as well. In case you were questioning it, I think they gave us all the answers that we needed. Now, from me, from Ocean, my wonderful colorcaster, from Ludi, our wonderful producer, finally back in action, and to you, all of our wonderful viewers, thank you so much for coming out and watching. That will be it for us for tonight. But remember, of course, we have plenty of CCS action tomorrow and Friday as well, 8 p.m., same time, same place. Until then, be safe, be smart, make wise decisions, and farewell.
Have a good one.